Are you in my... We are with you. Another Saturday. It's glorious out there wherever you are, isn't it? But we will be bringing you the very best action. The end of the British jump season. It's here. The curtain comes down. Congratulations, Paul Nicholls. Congratulations, Harry Skelton. Congratulations, Danny McMenamin, leading conditional jockey, of course. They're the big winners. Let's hope you're going to be that way too. By the time the afternoon finishes, of course, we will be bringing the curtain down on this show this afternoon with the Bet365 Gold Cup, the old Whitbread, as we used to know it. So many memories of this great meeting. Get your favourite ones into the show. The viewer interaction, it makes the party. You can do so, of course, on YouTube. Like and subscribe if you're watching there. Facebook Live, get your comments in for the guys in the gallery. They'll be whittling through them. We'll be giving you a shout in the social corner. And, of course, anything Twitter is hashtag RP Live. Dave Orton, back with you for a sizzling Sunday then. End of term feel. Who joins the party again on the panel? Top course commentator Tony Ennis.
Great to be here.
You are back.
Yep, back for the finale, jump season finale. Been a bit of interesting season, isn't it? I think, obviously... Cheltenham was all about the Irish. Rachel Blackmore dominant again in the Grand National.
They could even plunder the big race today.
They could do, but I think the two you mentioned might win it. I think Messrs Skelton and Nicholls might just put the icing on their cake for the season and win it with Enrillo.
Are you hoping to cheer home a few winners today, not just sort of people out there?
Yeah, hoping so. I've got my maps ready to call home Sandown.
I'm glad you're here because the railway fences I find
true. A lot of fences down the back straight. I didn't realise how many at Sandown until I actually did the maps.
Have you drawn them?
I have drawn them, yeah. I've got them ready for the...
Okay. Graeme Rodway joins us back, assistant betting editor of the Racing Post. Where's the hair? That's the first thing.
Yeah.
You're looking slick, my man.
Yeah, when I went into the barbers, he said he took 10 years off me by taking off all that hair, but I'm sure they could have made a wig out of it, the amount that was on the floor after they...
You're like Private Rodway or something, you know what I mean? Like, hey, attention, sir.
Yeah, I've gone from the ridiculous to the sublime now, hopefully, but... It's funny that Enzo's got all of his course maps there from Sandown. It just shows you how much I must love Sandown, because I think I could tell you the course map pretty much in the top of my head. You know, it's the one
sitting in this seat.
It's the one course that I know better than any other Sandown. I absolutely love it there.
And usually a meeting that you're at, G, of course.
Oh yeah, I try and get to all the Sandown meetings. It is the easiest one for me to get to, even though I'm in Essex. It's so quick out of Waterloo into Sandown, isn't it? It's only 15, 20 minutes on the train. It's absolutely ideal to get to, and it's a great place as well, isn't it? It's a super jumps track. And some lovely scenery there as well.
Hopefully we're not far off course spectators coming back. But if you're not there, if you're stuck on your sofa, if you're watching in the garden, the racing is lifting your spirits. We will bring you the best of the action and we'll be roaring them home and having a laugh. That's what it's all about, some fun today. We'll also be popping up to Haydock, 250 for a valuable handicap, to Leicester for a Group 3 as well. Real strong fancy in that. And shall we go across the Irish Sea, because he is back. Barry Orr, Betfair's big hitter. There he is.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. How are we all?
We are good, Barry. I hear the weather is glorious where you are as well.
Certainly is, yeah. It's bright and it's sunny and it's raised above 14 or 15 degrees for the first time in I don't know how long. So, yeah, everyone's happy over here. All we need is a couple of winners now. Will be the icing on the cake.
I asked you pre-show, just when we all sat in the studio, did you have a nap? You're finding it tough today, Barry, but I have to say, we can only see by the charity totals at the end of each month. Of course, we're still in April. We're playing for Greatwood. Things have gone well.
They certainly have, Dave. Yeah, we've shown a profit every month this year, and we've made some substantial donations to charity. I think the most recent was over $2,000 to the Injured Jockeys Fund just last month. So, yeah, we've been going well. Fingers crossed we can do the same today. Just show our viewers the functionality of the Betfair Exchange, the different things you can do, how you differentiate to a traditional sports book, and it's punter against other punters, and you can set your own odds or bet in running, whatever it is you want to do. And we're just going to showcase the functionality and hopefully get a few winners along the way. Yeah,
Barry will play in every single race. The panel will give you tips as well if you're new to the show. That's how the protocol works. You're going to learn about the exchange. That's what it's all about, the real market, of course. And you got some interesting angles today, Barry, of course. We've got at a celebration, Jace. He is back as well, Altior. I mean, he's still got an hour to put out, hasn't he? But we think he's going to turn up. And he is now favourite. And you're playing 3 places on the sportsbook.
Yeah, the Betfair Sportsbook, interestingly, paying 3 places. Only 7 runners there, so it's an additional place, obviously. And there's a couple being well found that, Dave. I'm sure we'll get with a good time, but one in particular has been Dolos, who was a 40-1 chance when we first went up with the race in the each way market, into 20 now. And Paul Nicholls gave that a very favourable mention in his blog, which you can read exclusively on betting.betfair. But the favourite now, Altior, the public have come for him. He's a public's horse, really, isn't he? And put the kettle on, a Queen Mom Champion Chase winner is out to 5-2, and it looks like that might only go off third favourite, which is hard to believe.
Absolutely. So if you're looking at those three places, I imagine there's a lot of temptation to play her. Henry de Bromhead, Aidan Coleman, of course, keeps the ride. Stiff finish, good ground. She eats the fences. What's not to like? I'm going to say early, I like her in that. You know what? We get feedback from this show. People, the public have their favourites. And it's not just me that's, delighted to have Barry back. I also get it at home. My father-in-law is a big fan of this show. He has got to be the number one fan of Barry Orr. It's ridiculous. I get feedback from him all the time. I tell you what, Barry, my father-in-law, he's a big fan.
He's obviously a good judge, Dave. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he's not a fan of yours. He's a fan of mine. We'll say nothing about that. But no, he's. I don't know. I'm blushing here, Dave. I'm blushing.
He can't get rid of me, Barry. He can't get rid of me. It's a done deal, that one, somehow. All right, shall we move on? Listen, keep your viewer interaction coming. Get your questions in for Barry. Who does he think's the big lay? You know he always puts one up per day. There's the market up for the first, the 155. It's the Novice Championship final. It is a bit of a minefield, isn't it? Who's going to win it? You've got time to get your shout out before we go down the panel. But Barry, who's been hot and who's been not in the 155?
Yeah, On to Victory's been the springer in the race. It has to be said. He's been strong all morning. He was 8.2. He's into 5.6 now. He's a couple of horses in this race, actually, Alan King. And the other one there's been money for is his second string, Oscillate, who was as big as 17 and 18 into 13.5 now. But On to Victory, very strong at the head of the market. Rayum Uni has been strong as well at 6.8. It just squeezes in the bottom of the handicap there. That's another horse for the Moors that has been attracting decent support. And the third horse then, that I can flag that's been attracting or has been a massive negative is Celestial Force for Paul Nicholls. He's had his win done. He was off the back of a 157-day break, and he finished second to Hell Red, his stable companion, off the back of that break. It was an improved run for him, and he gets in here in his first handicap off a nice mark. But he's out to 16. He was 4-1 favourite in the anti-post market this time yesterday, Dave. So he's a big negative for Celestial Force. The horse I like in it, though, is 2 Minute Turkish. Josh Moore rides it. Currently 26. There's a whole lot of pace in this race. These are just going to go hell for leather right from the get-go. Now, this horse has made all a couple of times, but he doesn't necessarily have to make all. I think that was just reluctantly. He might have got off in front in slow-run races. So I expect him to be prominent, but not have to make it 2 minutes Turkish. And just going to start off with having a very modest 25 quid win on him and a 25 quid in the 4-place market. So, Graeme, I believe you're in the hot seat today. So, I happen to be a price taker here on both. So, he's 26 in the win market. We'll have 25 quid on him to win at 26. And then in the 4 places market, there's traditional 3 places here. You have 4 or 5 places. In the 4-place market at the moment, he's currently trading at 4.6. It's just a little over 7-2. Happy to have 25 quid on at that price as well. So 2 Minute Turkish for me. I think he could run well at a big price.
Barry hoping Turkish will snatch the prize then in the Open. I got the movie reference in. It's all up here, Barry, I tell you. You're not the only one who's on form today. Delighted to have Barry Orr back, and that is the play in the first. Great stuff. Okay, you've got time to react to that, whichever you want to go. I mean, it is one of those races, isn't it, where you could take a flyer. When I was doing my selections yesterday, I'll get mine out of the way, Enzo, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
It might look a bit obvious. I think it was about 6-1 when the market opened, and Celestial Force, as Barry said, was favourite. I quite like Celestial Force's claims for this. He looks like the one that might have been laid out. If it's got the ground, I know it's all sort of summer form, but it was definitely a stepping stone for this. And now that they've sort of flip-flopped, I might just keep him on side as well. But On to Victory, I thought, was just an absolute glaring one here. The ground is quicker than you might think would be ideal for him, but he's a classy enough horse on the flat. Racing Post ratings in the 90s. That makes him very useful handicapper on good ground as well. His most recent romp at Warwick, when he was expected to win, was well advertised in the week at Exeter, I believe, one night. The second horse absolutely did the job there at odds on as well. I just think there's so much to like about him. So On to Victory now. He's pretty skinny with the books, bigger on the exchange. That's the way I'm playing. Enzo.
I was looking at that race at Ascot, Dave. Do you remember the race that Herbier beat Royam Uni?
Yes.
There was, half a length of the line between. I think Royam Uni's a pound better off today. So I watched that race. Well, I thought Royal Muni could have won that race.
He was a little bit unlucky, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think Josh Moore gave him a little bit to do. Maybe Jamie takes over today. I think Josh is on the other horse, isn't he? 2 Minutes Turkish that Barry mentioned. But I think Royal Muni will reverse that form with Herbie A. Although Paddy Brennan's riding well, another winner last night. But I'm going to go with On to Victory as well. I think it's going to be a full house for On to Victory votes here because he's not the best jumper though, is he? He's a bit sticky at the flights.
He ran in the Betfair Hurdle. You remember watching on this show when we covered that in February, and he was cruising, and then he whacked the second last. And if you read in your members section of your paper today, in the Racing Post, top trainer Alan King said he learns a lot from that. G, are you On to Victory as well?
On to Victory, yeah. This is one of my best bets of the day.
There we are, a clean sweep.
Start off, so a clean sweep, yep. This horse is well handicapped on both hurdles and flat form. If he can translate, he's very smart flat form. And how fitting it would be if the November handicap winner, the horse who brought down the curtain on the last flat season, could then come on and bring the curtain down on the last on this jump season as well. I mean, on his best flat form, he's rated 105. Now, I always like to work on what I believe is quite a conservative estimate of maybe £35 better over hurdles than on the flat. Yeah. In which case you might say, well, he could get to 140 over hurdles. He's running off 127. Purely on that could be £13 well in. But even on hurdles form, his last Racing Post rating at Warwick when he won was 136. So even on RPRs, we've got him £9 well in on that run. I just think he's very well handicapped also On to Victory. The one worry is, will he jump well enough in this big field? Because he has been a bit sticky, hasn't he, Dave, over his flights. But provided he can get round with a half decent round of jump in, he should outclass them, I think, on this ground.
You mean business today, don't you? Because you've got two screens, you've got notes, I can tell that. You've got your mouse fit. I mean, it's ridiculous. You are set up, man. No excuses.
No, I absolutely love this day, Dave. This is one of my favourite days of the whole year. And I'm very hopeful today. So let's hope we don't crash and burn.
The last time you came in, was it Lincoln Day? Was the last one you were in? You had some early fancies and they got sunk, and it was fair to say it was a long hour and a half for you after that.
It was a very long hour and a half. I think Andrew Mount was in that day, and he's obviously the king of the systems, isn't he? And I have a few systems of my own. And just in this race, even though I'm not following it through, there's a horse called Flicker Voyelle, the top weight, who ran to an RPR of 140 last time. Now, if you'd backed every horse that ran to 140 last time in this class of race over the last 4 years, you'd have made a profit just backing them all blind. So that horse might have a class edge. The one thing that just put me against that was Angus Chalada rode it last time, claiming 7.
Go on, Barry.
His last 4 runs, Graeme, 2.8, he's been matched at a low up, 1.9, 3.55, 2.34. They're his last 4 runs. He's traded in running and got chin.
He's got one of them in early. That's one of Barry's favourite games to play. Yeah. It's amazing how often that gets borne out, though, Barry, isn't it? The exchange, on a serious note, it's there to see, isn't it? And it's sometimes I'll say to you that I really fancy horse, and you'll say, he's touched this and touched that. And I'll go, no, as a punter, I'm going to give him a chance again. Lo and behold, they go low, and they still get stung.
Yeah, sometimes you can just look at the data, and the numbers don't lie at the end of the day. I mean, sometimes you can delve deeper into it and you can make excuses for horses. But ultimately, when you look back on some of those short finishers, like and in particular, Flicker Voyelle, like he's finished 3rd in Kempton and traded at 7-4. He's only finished 5th in Kempton the time before that. He traded at 10-9 on. 11-8 in Haydock when he got chinned as well. He finished 3rd in that race. So he tends to look like he's travelling real strong, but sometimes just doesn't finish out his races.
He is 22, though. So, if you wanted to back him at 22 and putting an in-running lay at around, 2.8, 2.6, you could play it that way.
Interesting. It's remarkable that he's still a novice horse. He seems to have been a novice for ages, doesn't he? But Bryony Frost is on. We know she's got a really big ride again for Bryony. Frodon in the next, up against Mr. Fisher. There are 2 other horses in that race, but it looks like a match. Let us know. Are you with Frodon? Who's opening the social? Commander von Roerich. Great to have you back, Commander. And Lily Pedlar, each way for me. Could finish well, in my opinion. OK, Lily Pedlar, Nico de Boinville and Nikki Henderson. Talk about another big day. It's a big day for Nico, I think. Yeah,
big ask for a maiden, though, isn't it, to win a race like this, I think?
She's
been placed a few times, though.
Yeah, and I think the trip will suit, and maybe the ground might be the thing. And it does look like a big price, doesn't it, for a Hendo runner with Nico on. I think there's quite a bit riding on this day for Nico today.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a few noises coming out from Seven Barrows about potential changes and stuff. I'm not suggesting it's a certainty to happen, but...
What about the champion jockey? I mean, he's got a rider, isn't he? Rockstar riding. I saw that. I was at Southern when he got beaten that day by a horse at Ollie Murphy's that came out and got beaten at Perth earlier in the week. I remember listening in on the little conversation Harry Skelton was having. I was kind of earwigging the debrief.
What a surprise, Enzo gate crashing the party.
And Harry Skelton was saying, I remember, if we go to market raising with this horse, and you won't bump into something like that. And he was talking about the winner. So I'm not sure this horse is going to be quite good enough to winning this.
A little bit disappointing, that winner, wasn't he? He ran at Perth the other day.
No risk day flow. I backed that day, and Aidan Coleman. I've just seen Aidan Coleman walking the track with Rachel Blackmore, actually. Rachel Blackmore back in the British House, everyone. She is riding, of course, the plan of attack in the big race later on. Will they plunder it again?
She's been chappy jockeying, hasn't she? She had a couple of winners, I think, last night.
Yes, let's come to Barry about that. Big week next week, Barry.
Yeah, massive Punchestown for her. It's a ding-dong. She needs to ride. I don't know many winners she needs to ride, to be perfectly honest with you, but I know she's still behind. But it could be a big week for her, yeah. But historically, Willie Mullins is so strong in Punchestown. It's unbelievable. If you go back and look at the statistics over the last 5 years. Like, I remember just 3 years ago when Gordon Elliott he might have been £600,000 in the trainer's title ahead of Willie going into Punchestown, and that was negated after 3 days. And Willie went on to win by over $500,000. So it just tells you what you need to know. The only thing about Punchestown is finding which one of Willie's is the right one to back. You won't go far around punting his horses.
Absolutely. We can see funny results there, but we're really looking forward to it over here, Barry, that's for sure. I'm sure the whole of Ireland is sort of saving their powder a little bit, keeping it dry for next week. Will Paul Townend turn up? Of course, we've had this great narrative here of Brian Hughes and Harry Skelton went the way of Harry Skelton, of course. It looked about a week and a half ago like Rachel was up against it. Of course,
four ahead, I think 95, 91.
He's now only 4 ahead, Barry. Will he turn up at Punchestown? That's the big question.
Yeah, we're betting on this on the exchange, and she's 5 to 4. It's a very, very illiquid market. Just looking at it here, and actually, it's not even worth quoting. But she's 5 to 4 on Rachel Blackmore, and if Townsend turns up, he'll probably win. He'll claw back those winners, but you're betting on whether he's fit to ride or not.
He's got a special boot made, isn't he? So he's got his injury in his leg.
You're doing your homework, Enzo.
He's going to wear a special boot if he rides, if he's cleared to ride. But I don't know. Of course, if he doesn't ride, she's still got to ride 4 winners. It's not going to be easy, is it, at Punchestown?
We're going to get a sort of handle on the Gold Cup from Frodon, aren't we, as well in the second race. We're hoping that Manila Indo turns up next week. There is a train of thought that those that ran in the Gold Cup had a very hard race. Spoke to Dickie Johnson yesterday for the Racing Post, and he was talking about his ride on Native River, and he said the reason why I got so outpaced wasn't just because of the ground, it's because they really got racing a long way out. It'd be interesting to see that, wouldn't it? G, Punchestown, big fan?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I've been lucky enough to go over there a few times for the festival, and it's always a great day out, as it used to be a night out now, isn't it now? With the races run sort of 5:30 and around 6:30, isn't it? The 2 big races.
Twilight, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. So I love the meeting, obviously, and all the best horses are now in Ireland. So it's almost as good as Cheltenham, isn't it?
You said to me earlier when we were in the office, if Rachel Bromhead and and Henry Blackmore take out the big race, we may as well just all give up.
We might as well just all go home and just pump these De Bromhead horses and forget about studying form.
I guarantee the British handicappers will be clunking their heads together if that does happen today. So look, great show here for you this afternoon. Loads of fun to be had. Let's hope you're enjoying it out there. Let's hope you get the winner of the first. They're circling round at Sandown. Glorious sunshine. 24 fences in the big race, of course. How many places on the sportsbook are we playing in the old Whitbread, as we'll call it on the show this afternoon?
5 places on the sportsbook, Dave, but it's down to 6 on the exchange. Additional places if you fancy it on the Betfair Exchange, but 5 in the traditional sportsbook.
Okay, all right, lovely. And you can see the Spotlight verdict. Look, we're giving you some members' content for free when you watch this show. You can see, look, Celestial Force is the pick for the Spotlights, and the stablemate, Flick Au Voyou, which I thought you pronounced rather well when you did that hurriedly. There have been some remarkable pronunciations in this studio over the week, so I have to say, and you nailed it.
It's rare for me to nail a pronunciation, so I must be on top form today.
You're going to come out of this on top this afternoon. I've got a great feeling about it.
I hope so.
It's a wonderful sporting week coming up then. We start here at Sandown. A real celebration, everything celebration of our great jump season. Send us in your jumps highlights, your anti-post picks for next year. We'll have it all. We'll give it all a discussion. You've got a top panel this afternoon. Proper A-team in for you, giving you the full voice. We will do that. We are your voice here this afternoon. So, how many minutes are we? A lot of pace on here, isn't it? I want to come to you, G, with this.
A lot of money for Sheldon as well, later on, I've just noticed. This Sheldon price.
Wow, Barry, Sheldon.
In the 7.2 now, Sheldon. Kevin Jones in the plate. Yeah, he's been really well supported, and he was as big as 28, around the 20s, 25 and 22. He would match that, yeah. Rayumi Uni 7.2. That's an interesting one as well. Down the bottom of the weights, he was one of the best back horses this season so far in Ascot that day when he just got touched off. He had been 12 and 14. He went off 7-4 favourites. So, obviously they think a lot of him, the son of Galileo. It'll be interesting to see how he goes, but it's another one that's probably well handicapped.
He's an ex-Ballydoyle horse, I think, isn't it? And they do think a bit of him. He's only a 4-year-old. He's got 10-2 on his back, Roy Muni, and just the sort that Gary Moore does extremely well with.
Tell you what, Sheldon's going to be favourite in a minute if this carries on.
Not a chance. What are you on about?
Yeah, he could well be. Yeah,
what?
He's into 5.4 now.
5.4. Come on, Dave.
Yeah,
follow the market.
He was 16 earlier on today.
This is a crazy gamble, isn't it? Where's this come from?
Yeah.
He's always been highly regarded. He ran in a bumper at Newbury, and that's when they knew they had
he
quite a good
faking
horse.
him. He didn't jump very well, if memory serves.
It's just whether this might be a bit lively for him, but Seamus Mullins' horses are going well. And they're off then in the first, over to Tony Ennis. Flick over you, right up there.
This is the Novices Championship final, handicap hurdle, 2 miles. They're going on the ground here, which is 6.3 on the hurdles course. Flick Uvoyu is up there towards the outside. Also up there as well is Fatka de Lille as well in green and white. Sheldon the Gamble, the Springer, is up in the vanguard as well as they take the first. Herbier is towards the back of the field. Also in rear is Get Back. Gilo's towards the back as well. Another one out the back I can see is Isolate. He's being held on to. Where's Royam Uni? Midfield at this stage. And on to Victory, the favourite, or we think is the favourite, is on the inside, handy in 5th place early on.
Yeah, he's got a lovely sit, G, hasn't he, the Fav?
Yeah, jumped the first 2 flights quite well as well. I'm kind of ticking them off as they go because I know that if this was a flat race, he would pick them up and carry them. So as long as he can get round with a half-decent round, we should be all right. But he is getting squeezed up just on the inside, getting a little bit tight there. We've got Pazvolsky and what's the other one up there? Lily Pedler still making the running. But there was a lot of pace on, like you were saying, before the race. There are about 4 or 5 different front runners in this. But Pazvolsky's won the early battle.
You are the pronunciator today, aren't you? It's absolutely, I'll tell you, that was causing all sorts of problems in the studio yesterday.
Haircut, he's just a different man.
He's had a haircut, Samson.
The military training.
Absolutely fantastic. Barry, where's 2 Minute Turkish? I don't think he can go to pace, can he?
No, he kind of sulking a bit in the mid-division there. He's been scrubbed along already. He didn't seem to jump well the first hurdle that time. He's mid-div at the moment, but long way to go yet, I suppose. There seems to be plenty of pace on. On to Victory, still clear favourite. Was returned favourite on the Betfair SP as well at 5.14. He's 4.2 now. Rayum Yune is 5.7, 7.8 Herbier, Sheldon 7.4, 12.5 Celestial Force. He seems to travel well.
He does indeed, and he will love that ground when we're on the far side then, Enzo. Things are ramping up.
They are. Pazvolsky's out in front still, leading up to Lily Pedler Bubba ahead. Then comes Fatka de Lille, who's out wide, the ex-French horse. Celestial Force is handy as well. Flicku Voyou is towards the outside. The Gamble of the race, Sheldon's in about 5th place. The inside, the favourite, On to Victory, has got a lovely sit. He's jumped quite well today so far. Hopefully that's not the curse for On to Victory. Sheldon made a mistake there. Isolate's made up a bit of ground, is now midfield. Gilo as well, the recent Plumpton winner. Bridget Andrews is trying to get into it. Herbier's being held up towards the back. Royam Uni is in that rear group as well. 2 Minutes Turkish is 1 from last, and the back marker is Rockstar Roddy and the champion jockey, Harry Skelton. They take the next down the back.
We're around about 4 out then, G. Who's going to win it?
On to Victory, still going well. I'm still very hopeful here, Dave. Like Enzo said, I don't want to bock him, but he seems to have done all right over the flights. We've only got 2 left to jump now as well, haven't we? It's quite a long run in at Sandown, long run to the second last. But not a lot of change, is there? They're still all going well.
He's had a ground-saving ride, isn't he, on to Victory?
Just getting tightened up.
What will he find? Yeah, just around that, he's got absolutely loads now. I'll tell you what, the second string, if you like, Isolate, he's going to bounce off the ground as well. He's going well. Gilo out the back as well. Rockstar Ronnie. Here we go. Then up the home straight, Tony Ennis.
Up front, it's still Pazvolsky on the inside. Under pressure now is Lily Pedler, maybe finding the ground a little bit too quick. Here's Flicku Voyou wider. Celestial Force off the bridle. On to Victory.
Come on to Victory.
To the inside. Tom Cannon, full of confidence. Sheldon's under pressure. Might be a gamble going astray. Then comes Royam Uni, who's making ground 2 for the Moors.
Herbier's going all right.
Herbier's creeping into it. The horse who beat Royal Muni at Ascot. Gilo is wide.
Come on, Tom.
And then Isolate. Come on,
This
onto
is key.
victory. 2 out.
He's pinged it. Go on, boy.
You. He's in front. Is he going to trade
is he
short
gonna
again?
trade short?
He's
He
going to
comes onto
trade short.
victory. And
Come on,
also
Tom.
Herbier
Oh,
running
no,
on as well.
Herbier.
What's Herbier
Herbier's
doing?
flying.
Running on strongly. Up front, Flicku Voyou's in front, but Herbier looks the winner at this stage. Here's the last for Paddy Brennan. Herbier.
He stepped over it onto victory. That won't help him.
Flicku
Herbier's
Voyou in
doing it.
second. He's going to win Herbier, isn't he?
I
What a
bet
year
this
it's
at
been for
Newbury
Paddy
last time. He
Brennan.
found absolutely nothing.
He's going to win, I think. Flicku Voyou is going to finish placed again in second. On to victory. Hasn't got home for some reason.
Yeah.
But it's Herbier. Ollie Greenall wins.
Wow.
Well done to him. Beats Flicku Voyou on to victory. Royal Muni fourth. The big guns third and fourth.
I say I backed him at Newbury last time. Of course, he did then go to Ascot, didn't he, and beat Royal Muni. The day I backed him at Newbury, Barry, he didn't find a great deal. This time in this big field, it absolutely ignited him, didn't it? Great ride there. Paddy Brennan.
Yeah, Paddy Brennan traded has a Betfair SP of 9.39, traded at a high of 14.5 in running, would you believe? Flicku Voyou traded at a high of a low of 3.15. Thought he might have gone short. Thought he might have gone shorter than that, but that's as short as he went. And Graeme rightly pointed out that was the play. Back him and lay him back in running.
And of course, Barry, you're right again. These horses, when they go short and they don't pull it out of the fire, they have so many chances, don't they? I'll tell you what, Bryony Frost must have really fancied her chances. Let's talk about them down the field then. Herbier, what do we do with this chap now then? This is just a 4-year-old, plenty of time ahead of him, proved he goes on good ground.
Absolutely, yeah, and won that quite easily, didn't he? I thought he stayed on very well because he made good ground from the rear, and I just wonder whether they might consider stepping him up in trip. You know, I thought that he looked very, very strong at the finish. That Flicku Voyou again has run an absolute stormer. It must be a frustrating horse, mustn't he? Because he keeps running really, really well, but he's getting hit by the handicapper. He was running off top weight there. Yeah. He's going to be a hard one going forward. And on to victory, travelled very, very well, didn't he? But didn't get home.
I've got a feeling it was the ground, G. I'm not totally sure. I don't think he totally let himself down. I'm just watching it again in the corner of my eye when they were coming up there. I mean, if you stop the clock, 3 out, he's absolutely hosing. In fact, there's only the winner going better. And even then, he was being shoved along at that point. There were no excuses there for On to Victory. Loads of you would have backed him each way off of the place. So you're happy enough we move on. But I think that they'll be looking at a big handicap for him. Maybe the Greatwood, something like that. On softer ground. Absolutely. Don't give up on him. That was pretty classy novice final there, wasn't it? Absolutely delighted. Enns, anything about the form to say about this race?
Well, it was strange because Royal Muni was actually weighted to get a lot closer and beat Herbier's, but he's finished well behind him. Sheldon, I didn't understand that gamble. I think the ground was quick enough for him. He doesn't jump quickly enough to win a race like this anyway. Disappointed with On to Victory, really. He was there to win, wasn't he? And then just didn't appear to get home. There was no excuse for it. Rockstar Ronnie probably wants softer ground as well. He's maybe not up to winning a race like this, but yeah, I think the winner. I mean, Ollie Greenall's had a bit of a breakthrough this year, isn't he? He's done very well. I think this horse would probably go chasing. He looks a nice type, doesn't he? Took his chance well.
Celestial Force will be kept on the go. He ran okay, didn't he? I mean, Sheldon is coming back after the last. It's just that stank of a horse that's been running through the winter and found this a little bit lively. I think we're off and running then at Sandown. Congrats if you found Herbier and went with Paddy Brennan. He's 40 years old, but my goodness gracious me, hasn't he still got the silky skills in the saddle? One of my favourites out there, that's for sure. OK, shall we go to Leicester? We've got a Group 3 for you. It's the King Edward, isn't it, of course? It's the 210. Barry, who's been hot and who's not in this? I'm hoping that Pogo bounces out and makes it.
Yeah, well, obviously we've been robbed of Lord Campari here, so it's had all adverse effect on this market. There was a reduction factor of 28.9%, but Poga's your favourite at 2.46. Mom's Tipple, who went into one last day in the all-weather mile championship final, is 3.66. Shine So Bright, beat LeBron, 6.2. Just the 4 runners in it at the moment. I was going to lay both Lord Campari and Pogo. I was going to Dutch lay them. I just thought Mom's Tipple had a chance and Shine So Bright had a chance. Obviously, Lord Campari an unrunner now. I'm just going to lay Pogo. I'm going to take 50 quid out of him. I think he's going to go shorter, though, because obviously the horse that beat Mom's Tipple last day now bumped into Palace Pier yesterday, but ran very, very disappointing. I couldn't find an excuse for such a bad run, but, there might be a question mark over the standard of that form. So at around I'm going to lay Pogo, but I'm going to lay him at around 2.42. So what we're going to do here, Graeme, is look to lay him. We're going to lay him at 2.42. So we'll select our own odds here. Yeah, you click on him and then go and select, bring it down to 2.42, and we're going to take 50 quid out of him. So we're going to be a price maker here. I don't want to lay him at 2.44. I don't want to lay him any bigger than that. Around the 2-4. I'd say the money's coming for him now already, isn't it? He's 238 now. So, yeah, I thought the money would come from. Are we matched or?
Yeah, we're matched at 238, Barry. So
238, perfect. Best price execution. So that's one of the crucial things about the exchange. Obviously, we've gone in there and we're selecting a price, and as we were selecting the price moved downwards. So best price execution means that we get matched at whatever is available at the time because we were selecting a higher price, 242. He was trading at 238. We get matched at 238.
Lovely. Okay, great stuff. Listen, I like Pogo. Barry's going against him. I guess you're hoping that something like Shine So Bright takes him on. Enzo, let's give you the top of the floor, though, with your selection.
I was with Lord Campari, obviously, this morning, and then noticed it was a non-runner, so I've just gone with Pogo in the end. I thought he ran well, didn't he? A few times last season, Pogo. I thought the second at Newmarket was very good. I thought his run in France in the Prix d'Ispahan was solid at a huge price. I was at Windsor when he won that day in June, so I think he's got a good chance. Charlie Hills does well with these sort of 6 furlong, 7 furlong horses, these sprinting types. Shine So Bright beat Lawrence, didn't he, at York? Remember that Group 2? Was it last year or the year before? He's nothing like that anymore, though, is he, Shine So Bright? He looks like he's just got off the boil a bit. And I don't know. I don't think he's as good as he was anyway. Mum's Tipple, I think I'd have stuck with trying to find an all-weather race for this horse. I think back on turf, he might just struggle again, although obviously he's got that York win, isn't he? That breathtaking York win as a 2-year-old, but I thought he might be up against it. And same for Beat Le Bon. I didn't really fancy him either. I think he got beaten in a handicap. I think Pogo's the class horse in the race. I think he'll win it for Charlie Hills.
Same here. I'm a big fan of his. You may or may not remember, depends on how much you watch this show. I was all over him for last year's Hunt Cup, and I thought everywhere bar the line, he was going to win. He was a massive price that day. I stuck with him ever since. He did me a good favour at Windsor, as Enzo mentioned. It was his only win, though, last year, G. But I suppose this just looks like an ideal starting point. If he improves again, he's just going to, even with a bit of pace pressure, I think he'll do the job here.
He should do the job. He's got the class edge, I think, in this race. He's a bit better than these, I think. The worry, I suppose, would be first time up, 197 days off, coming in against horses who have been running on the all-weather or have got runs under their belt. So he's going to need to be somewhere near full fitness to win. But I expect that he will outclass them. He's 112 last time out RPRs when he was second in that Group 2 at Newmarket. That's far and away better than anything else can offer. And he's a very uncomplicated horse, isn't he? He's not the sort of horse that's going to be inconvenienced by a 4-runner tactical affair, because you can just have him up there nice and prominent and away you go with him. So he showed that was no problem last year when he won at Windsor in a similar sort of 7-runner race. I think this race should be ideal for it. It looks an absolutely perfect starting point for Pogo, doesn't it? Let's just hope he doesn't need the run. You just
think with a horse rated 112, a 5-year-old like Pogo, who's just maybe off sort of Group 2 class of win, isn't he?
Yeah.
This looks like the ideal starting point. I thought this would be his big day as well. Shine So Bright might be the pace edge against him. Lord Campari coming out has helped on that front. Getting £3 from Mum's Tipple, a bit disappointed if he doesn't make a winning start here, I think. 6 of the last 10 have won first time out here as well. Paul Keeley yesterday was in the studio with me, and he goes, I found one at a price. Holly Doyle's on. It's Beat Le Bon. And he has a habit of missing the break, this chap, but he used to be rated a lot higher. Do you remember they took him down to Ramwick a couple of years ago for the Golden Eagle, a race worth like a million Aussie dollars? It was far from disgraced in 6th. I remember backing him on his last run on the all-weather, and it looked like a horse that maybe had a few of his own ideas. But I thought if the pace angle was there, he'll miss the break under Holly. She should. There's hardly any jockeys out there that are better from the gates, are there, than Holly Doyle? He's one that would worry me, I think. I think probably he's the big danger, actually.
Don't you think that we just talk about horses that might not be bothered by a 4-runner tactical affair? Well, if you could find one that might be, Beat the Bond might be the one, because he is the sort of horse who really needs him to go fast and everything to drop into his lap. I'm not saying that's not going to happen. There's every chance they might here. There is some pace on. Shine So Bright will obviously go forward, and so will Pogo, but I'm just not sure whether things will drop right for Beat the Bond.
I think you've called it right there, absolutely. Now that there's maybe not so much pace on, absolutely his best form does come in big fields at Goodwood, doesn't it, etc. Who else joins the show then? Let's have a look as we replace the Spotlight Viaduct with the social caller. Mally Draycott comes back on. Good to have you. And it's Mum's Tipple for Mally out there. I tell you what, this was the biggest red herring that we've ever seen, wasn't it, after he won that sales race up at York? I was there that day.
People were back with the guineas and all sorts, weren't they, after that?
And they were saying he's the best worker we've had. You know, he just looked like one of those horses that got lost at 3. But giving £3 away here, he's gonna need everything to go right. Sean Levy, though, I think whenever you back one with Sean Levy on, you always get a run for your money, don't you? So good luck, Matty, with that.
He's doing the lockage as well, isn't he, Mums Tipple?
Is it? Wow, that's how well he works. You know, Richard Hannons.
It's a bit harsh, do you think, sometimes when these horses have to give away weight against proper turf types for winning listed races on the all-weather? I just wonder whether they should look at that again. You know, should horses that have won listed races on the all-weather then have to carry a penalty on turf? What do you think? Well, listed races on the all-weather aren't as strong, are they?
Tough one. Tough one. You know, I'm an all-weather fan. And Abel started a career on the all-weather. Let's not forget. I see what you mean, though. I do. It's almost like the summer jumping versus winter jumping argument, isn't it? We get a lot of horses that win 3 races and culminating at Uttoxeter in that summer cup, and then they go and aim at something like the Paddy Power Cold Cup and come last. You know, we wonder why we get beaten by the Irish. You know,
summer jumps marks and
well, maybe, but it's tough. It's tough, isn't it? Because if one of them goes and wins a big prize,
there's a lot of talk about handicapping at the moment, and so
I know you're involved.
You're just adding another one in.
Yeah, you have, on the flat in a listed race. Who else have we got coming on? Good to have you back, Mally, again. Good to see you. Mark Smith, welcome along to the party, my man. Pogo should outclass them today. Yes, I'm hoping so as well. Good old Pogo. OK, so bouncing out Pogo. No one's picked up on the fact that I did that, you know, the bouncing out Pogo. Is it that bad that even Enzo's got his hand on his cheek?
No more Pogo gags, please. What do you think are going to be Shine So Bright? Pop him out in front? Is there any other way of riding him?
I think that is the way to ride him, isn't it, basically? So I don't know.
Are they get him back, or do you think he's just on the decline?
Well, you said he's on the decline. I looked at his race post race. He nearly won, didn't he, on the all-weather on his return? I think he was supposed to sort of win it. But Count Otto has been thriving on the all-weather.
Otto, yeah, keeps beating me, Count Otto.
Does he?
Yeah. Anyway, I think Shine So Bright will go on. I think Pogo will sit second, probably. Mums Tipple third.
I think they'll try and get out. Now, will they come stand side? When Pogo, obviously, the stalls are on the stand side. They're going in, by the way, last one. When he won at Windsor, he got that rail. That's what luck on.
I like middle here at Leicester. I much prefer middle to stand side, so let's see.
All right, OK, well, they're about to go off. Good luck wherever you played in the 210.
I've rode it, Dave.
Yeah, OK. We'll be bouncing all over the studio if this wins. They're off and running then, Enzo.
Yes, the feature race at Leicester. It is the elusive Bloodstock EBF Stallions King Richard III Stakes. A listed race. Shame about the small turnout for the prize money on offer here, but the ground on the quick side. Pogo is steadied early on, and it's going to be Beat Le Bon, the horse we didn't think would lead, who leads. Shine So Bright taking a bit of a grip. Pogo's handy in between them, and Mums Tipple is going to sit and stalk for the excellent Sean Levy, the last of the quartet. But the leader is just about Beat Le Bon, although Shine So Bright isn't far away now, the grey under Sylvester. Kieran Schumacher is probably happy where he is on Pogo at the moment, just sat in third place. Mums Tipple with the white face is the back marker of the 4 for Team Hannon as they go through the first 3 furlongs, Dave.
They come down the middle, G. You're happy?
Yeah, happy with that. Yeah, they're going fairly fast, you think. It looks like a good pace on here, I think, for a 4-runner race. Wouldn't surprise me if Mums Tipple picks them off.
Yeah, he's going to be the beneficiary, I think. Just got a little bit tightened up there, Pogo. What's he got under locker? 2 furlongs out, Ends.
Yeah, Mums Tipple going very well at the moment for Sean Levy on the far side. Pogo shaken up, but still there. I think Beat Le Bon's in trouble. Shine So Bright likewise. It could be between Pogo
Here
and
comes
Mums Tipple.
Pogo.
Now the Pogo's got on. Mums Tipple, what's he going to fight? He's going well, the Tipple towards the far side, though. Pogo versus Mums Tipple. The gloves are off. These two fight it out. Pogo just maybe behind Mums Tipple now.
He gets him, doesn't he?
But Pogo's coming back at
Mums Tipple. Pogo.
He's shown the greater resolve.
On a Pogo.
And it will be Pogo.
For
Kieran Schumacher and Charlie Hills, who begins his season with a victory. Mums Tipple went down fighting in second. They were clear of Beat Le Bon and Shine So Bright. Definitely, I think, on the decline, sadly, last of 4.
Oh, you're hopping mad. There's another one. If you were on Mums Tipple.
The Pogo, yeah.
Absolutely, the Pogo. He showed a great attitude there, G, but £3, that made the difference, didn't it?
Oh, it did. You would have thought Mums Tipple would have won there. The way they went at good pace, he came through travelling like an express train, didn't he? You thought, he's just going to go away and win this well. As it is, the fitness was absolutely no issue at all, was it? Because if there were any doubts over Pogo being ready first time up, he wouldn't have won that race.
He's a miler, doesn't he, Pogo? So he thought he'd find at the end.
He was very tough, wasn't he? Very uncomplicated, also, Pogo, and a good springboard to further success this season.
Yeah, I just think everything was right there. Stiff mile, but I loved the way that he found. A lot of people, I think when he was, sort of 3-year-old career, I maybe thought he was a bit of a twicer, but a lot to like about that, Barry. It was ding-dong all the way in the final furlong. What price did Mums Tipple go when he ranged up?
What price do you think?
Oh,
1.4?
1.20.
Woo!
5's on.
No
Fives
way.
on for 366 quid. Yeah, I don't think he was ever looked at 5's on chance. So I suppose you're just betting on, the fitness levels of the eventual winner. How forward was he? But he pulled it out of fire there, wasn't he? Nothing wrong with his resolution. Although the second, when he went to head up, or maybe more. I'd expect more from him, but having fitness advantage as well. But no, fair play to the winner. He's done it well at the finish. He had a Betfair SP at 2.32. Yeah, traded at 5.9 in running.
If you were right in the comments there, Dave, would you say that Mums Tipple led at any stage in that race?
Did he look like it? We should ask the commentator, really. I'm not sure he did quite get to the front, did he?
No, possibly. I thought maybe about a furlong out, he might have been a short head in front, maybe.
Well, Mums Tipple, I think we can say now with the weight differential, he's a little bit unlucky there with the penalty. Oh, you're still out there. You think there's another listed race in him, don't you, Mally Draycott? Will you be going back in for him again? Let us know. Or are you disappointed? I mean, the horse was rated 118 at his peak, wasn't he? So I suppose if they got him back, they weren't that worried about the penalty. But in the Lock-Inch, you're looking at
good horses.
Minor placings at best, I think. Palace Pier came back yesterday, of course, at Sandown. Great card on the flat at Sandown. This used to be a mixed Saturday, G, didn't it? Of course, they switched it with the end of the jump season. I think it probably was the right call, but we missed these mixed meetings over there. They have them in Ireland still.
They do have them in Ireland, yeah, but we don't get many at all in England now, do we? Hardly any. I think it was the right call, to be honest, Dave. I like having that Friday. It's a quality flat card, and this is the proper end to the jumps. I think it works well.
Yeah, and after we go off air, there's still some really good racing, of course, at Sandown, isn't there? There's a really good novice handicap. There's a grade 2 as well, so it's a really, really good day. Let's just hope we get back on track soon. I was speaking to someone in hospitality about when we might be doing that.
What's in the offing? I've heard a couple of test days.
Well, I think that we were hoping for that, weren't we? I mean,
it's taking a long time. Obviously, I know the BHA have done very well, and they don't want to rush things back. But you see people going to snooker, and you think, well, how are people sitting in a snooker hall?
Yes.
And you've got a race course with big open spaces, and there's nobody there. I just think
it's all about optics with our government over here, isn't it? I mean, I think. Do they trust 4,000 people in a race course at the moment where there's a bar? Probably not.
That's the problem, isn't it?
And maybe that is the right call. So,
what about having it without a bar? Is that not possible?
I don't know. Take the bar away at the race course. You can tell that he only commentates on them, can't you? Yeah, listen, we're not far off. We just need to be a little bit more patient. I think that there's still got some great meetings to go. Royal Ascot are going to have hopefully 10,000 a day. That looks like the play there. But from what I'm hearing, that might just be members, and people that had tickets last year and all that sort of stuff. A lot of people still deferring to next year.
I mean, the amount of emails I get when I'm working on Sky, people are desperate. They just want to go racing. They see the sun's out. They see other sports. Obviously, there's a crowd at the Cup final, isn't there, tomorrow? I think Man City and Tottenham, there's fans there.
We had one in the semi between Leicester and Southampton.
People just get frustrated a little bit now, aren't they? They want to get back on course, Dave. This time of year, sun's out, flat season.
The aspect of the optics, I think, when you've got 4,000 people in Wembley, it looks like there's only 10 there, doesn't it? On a race course, and we're still paying for that visual... I think that was Cheltenham last year.
It's more seen as a social occasion racing, isn't it? Sometimes,
exactly.
A big social day out, and that might be what's holding us back. But
there's a reason why you can't go into a restaurant or a pub and order a meal at the moment, but you can go into a shopping store and you're all in there. Was it at Air last week when we were doing the Air Grand National meeting? Matty Batch was on. He said someone tweeted a picture of the Tesco right next to the course. It was rammed. It was like an ant farm, and yet there was just only 2 owners.
I've just come through London to get here, and all of the pubs and bars outside are really heaving,
Yeah. Have you been out yet, G?
I've not made it out. But
that haircut has not been seen yet.
I can't wait to go. I was trying to book a place near mine tonight, but literally everywhere is banged out.
It is a jungle out there at the minute trying to get a table. Of course, Barry's looking on and going, yeah, I bet it is. What's the current play? I keep asking this, Barry, but you must be nearing some sort of roadmap out of it over there now, surely in Dublin.
There's a cabinet meeting on Tuesday to work out exactly what that roadmap looks like. There's some loosening. We're able to travel outside of our 5K restrictions at the moment, but still, you have to stay within your county. So we're a long way off eating indoors or drinking indoors. Hopefully, we'll be able to open beer gardens soon, and people will be able to get out and return to some sort of normality. But at the moment, we're a long way off the UK because our vaccination program is light years behind you guys.
Yeah, I think that the EU has done a massive deal with Pfizer, hasn't it? So please, we're nearly there, and hopefully get some people back on Irish race courses. Massively, massively important. You've still got some huge meetings to come over there. Guineas next week, of course. Really looking forward to that. We'll be with you Saturday and Sunday as well. Delighted to tell you about that. You won't miss any of the action here on RP Live. Right, we must go back to Sandown. It's the 2:30. It is the John Oaksey Chase, of course, named after Menorah this year. The great horse. Did he win it 3 or 4 times? Didn't he? I think Menorah really broke some hearts in that race. Great to see the trophy being pronounced there. It was 4 times that Menorah won it, Rob Lee. has come in my ear and told me. And of course, we've got a hot pot in here. It's Frodon, Barry, but he's been on the drift.
Yeah, he's been on the drift. He's been matched at a low of 1.71. He was 193 just a couple of minutes ago, and now he's into 1.86. So just 1.93 looks a big price for him. If he's over his exertions from the Gold Cup, you'd think he's sure to win this. You know, he's back to a trip that suits him best. Bryony Frost, thankfully, is back on board following her nasty fall in the Grand National. Mr. Fisher, he's perennial. He makes too many mistakes, doesn't he? When he puts it all together, though, he's a very, very good horse, no doubt. But I just can't have him the way he makes those mistakes and the way these fences come up so quick and fast in Sandown. I'm looking to take him on, so I'm just looking to lay. I'm going to take 50 quid out of him. You have Frodon running for you, Born Survivor, Militarians a 65 to 1 chance. But so just we're going to lay. Happy to lay him at 2.70, which he is trading at the moment, and just take 50 quid out of him at 2.70.
Okay, great stuff. I'm going to understand that, Barry. We'll talk about, how punters, layers, players should approach this race. But there you go, Mr. Fisher, the lay for Barry. In the 2:30 at Sandown, the John Oaksey Chase, named this year after Menora as well. 2 miles, 6 furlongs. That could be the key to unlocking some improvement in Mr. Fisher. Is it a match, Enzo?
It looks like that way, doesn't it? I mean, there's a bit of extra yardage as well. I think we're up to 2 miles, 6 furlongs, 199 yards. A bit of extra distance on this race as well. So it's almost 2.7 now. I think Frodon, he's not my favourite horse, Frodon, but I think he's going to win. I thought it was a below par King George that he won, but he took his chance well. A lot of the big guns didn't perform, did they? Clanders Oboe, Surname. I thought it was a terrible King George, to be honest, but look, he won it. Didn't get home in the Gold Cup, but this will be a lot easier. I just think he's a better horse than Mr. Fisher, isn't he? Off level weights, he's got to beat him, I think.
There's £5 between them, according to the handicap. A rated superior is Frodon, of course. Ran in the Gold Cup G, faded into 5th. If the Gold Cup was as gruelling a race as the horsemen are saying out there, or certainly hinting to us out there, then did anyone have a harder race than Frodon on the lead?
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, Elarindo was always there, though, wasn't he? And he stayed on well. So, if they'd gone massively, massively hard, you would have thought that maybe something would have come from further behind. I think this is a hard race because I think Mr. Fisher would win, but his last 2 runs have been off, weren't we? We were huge fans, weren't we? Do you remember at Cheltenham when we were here for the big race, the 2.5 mile one? Yeah. We really fancied him, and he was going well. And then you said, "Oh, he's jumping beautifully, G." And all of a sudden,
thank you for that.
He absolutely whacked.
You suggested that I've ruined Mr. Fisher's career.
He absolutely whacked every single fence after you said it. And then, of course, next time out Aintree, he's also unseated the rider, and he made a bad mistake, and then he unseated the rider. And at Cheltenham, he was jumping well, and then he made a bad mistake, and then it all went to pieces. And I just wonder if he makes a bad mistake here, is it all going to go to pieces again? I'm not sure Frodon's quick enough to win this race on good ground around there over this trip. You'd really fancy Mr. Fisher to outspeed him if he puts in a good round, but I can't have Mr. Fisher, and the other 2 aren't good enough. So purely from a process of elimination, I think Frodon will win, but he's not an odds-on bet for me.
It looked like he might even go as, near 1 to 2-ish yesterday, didn't he? But he has drifted out a bit. What price does Frodon become value? You've got time. Let us know. We're 8 minutes away from the Great Horse coming back. I mean, I've gone with Mr. Fisher simply because this is something of now, as G says, a cliff horse for me. And this is where it's tricky for punters to approach this race, isn't it? If I don't put him up, you know what happens. It all clicks into play and he goes and does it. If I take him on, and there's nothing worse, is there, than a player, I think, than when that happens. You can let horses win, of course, and just sit back and go, OK, I'm going to sit this one out. We don't have to play in every race, as we keep telling you, it's all about safe gambling. But I have had a bit on Mr. Fisher. I think he was running about 2s yesterday, simply because I still think there's a very good horse in there. I was given a little bit of confidence as well by connections yesterday. But Frodon, he can take horses out of their comfort zones. You mentioned it was a horrible King George. Did you call it a terrible King George?
Terrible, yeah.
Just for the record there. You called that a terrible King George when Clanders Oboe comes out and wins as he likes at Aintree. Some people will be screaming at the telly. But he was something of a surprise winner. Do you remember we called that race in here?
Yeah.
Barry, we asked him. Barry around about 4 hours. He was still 12 to 1. People just didn't believe it. They thought that the closers would come.
Clanders Oboe didn't run his race, did he? And Surname didn't run his race. Waiting Patiently who's just not up to winning a race like that
He
was
was
too
nearly
close.
tailed off at that stage.
It was just the horse of Harry Whittington's as well. Looked like
St Calvados, he's not done it, I know. It was just the right horse on the right day, but it was all about the ground. It was better than we were expecting, and Frodos bounces off it. So Mr. Fisher's got his ground. I don't think Mr. Fisher has had the hardest of seasons. Let's just talk about the others quickly before we talk about Frodon again. So I'm going to pick you up on something you said, actually, Enzo. But Born Survivor finally came back and delivered last time. I mean, he's got it all to do at the weights, isn't he? And is this just something of a swan song run for him this season, G?
Oh, well, I mean, he will like the ground, and he's always been highly regarded, hasn't he? But I am a form man, and this horse has got the bulk of £16 to £20 to find with the best of these, probably more.
You're picking up £5 for third as well, potentially, aren't you?
Yeah, so? I know this horse likes the ground, but how £20, £16, I mean, I don't care if you absolutely love a good ground and the other horse absolutely hates the good ground. You know, to run that much above what he needs to do, I find it hard to believe he will do it, but he's going to need Frodon and Mr. Fisher to underperform. But there, like we just said, there are potential reasons why that could happen. Mr. Fisher has got jumping issues, and Sandown is obviously a fair enough test to jump in. And Frodon, it's good ground. It's 2 miles 6 furlongs. And he's coming off that hard race at Cheltenham. But
if he hasn't had a hard race, he wins, right? Because he gets the lead, we're thinking, and he just outstays Mr. Fisher. But there are enough reasons
and Bryony
to oppose
Frost
him.
is brilliant on this
on.
horse. Yeah, she's brilliant on this horse, and this won't be a hard race for her to ride.
Before I pick up Enzo on his comments about Frodon. Yeah, go on, Barry, before we get some socials.
I'm just saying, like, it's not like Frodon has been over-raced this year, is it?
He doesn't look like he's had a lot of runs, but he's had some tough races, I suppose, amongst those 4 runs, hasn't he?
He's had some tough races, but he gives us all from the front, like. But he's 36 days since the Gold Cup, so he's had a fair old break, you know. This is only his third run this year. Well, only his second calendar run this calendar year.
Yeah, he didn't run, did he, between King George and Gold Cup?
It's not. I don't think it is. You can see the spotlight verdict again. Frodon is the way. Mr. Fisher could prove a big threat if he avoids the errors. So spotlight's, of course, keeping it simple as well. Just thinking, don't worry about it. It's Nichols' horses. They go to the well and they provide. What have we got social-wise? Let's have a look coming up on the screen. Mark Smith comes back into the bite and says, why the Frodon hate, Enzo? You got it, Mark. You got it. Oh, yes, the boys in the gallery are nodding at me. They get the social clips ready. You said, what was it? He's not a favourite of mine or something, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't
This horse has got a whopping following.
I know.
What's wrong with him? He's won a King George, man.
There's a horse you just don't latch onto.
He's won a Ryanair. He's won a King George.
I've never felt the love.
He won the Caspian Caviar as a 4-year-old, didn't he?
There are people who never liked Corto Star. You just, I don't know. You just have horses that you just don't latch onto. I don't know why it is.
And here you are tipping him.
I'm tipping him today. I think
you are a fickle man.
Yeah, but look, I think he wins. You say odds on, you don't want to back odds on, but odds on can be value quite a few times. I think this is value here. I think 1.86, whatever he is now.
I'll tell you what, if you've backed Frodon out there,
love him now.
knowing that Enzo's calling this one, it will be bittersweet over the final 2 fences. Mark Smith, you're right. I picked up on that as well. A little bit of hate for Frodon. God, I can't believe I'm saying that. One of the most popular horses out there, rightly so. He's still only a 9-year-old, you know. So
I sort of get why you wouldn't like Corto Star, because you've always got to be taking on a horse that's going off short price. But how can you not like Frodon? He always goes with good price and it wins.
Honestly.
He wins too often for you, don't he, Enzo? That's the problem.
It's a mental thing.
Honestly, he found himself on Pogo by default. There we are, and he's sort of done it with Frodon as well. We are just watching them go down, actually. Mr. Fisher always looks an absolute picture, doesn't he?
Just those too many letters, though, isn't there, in that form to trust him?
But we do know he can bounce back from a P. He ran in the Paddy Power Gold Cup. He then went to the Peterborough, and that's when...
Frodon wants to go. Look at him.
Yeah.
Whoa.
He wants to run a mile and a quarter.
Now, we'll come to Barry in a second about this, because is this an enthusiastic hold, Barry, or is he... I'll tell you what, he's running right keen down to the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's his head in his chest, hasn't he? He's fresh, obviously. He's 1.90 now, so obviously any punters on Betfair Exchange watching it don't like to look at that because he was into 183 at one stage.
He was getting to
He's
a gallop
nearly
there,
even money now, would you believe? He's 1.96.
That is no surprise
value
to me.
Now. You'd back him at even money, wouldn't you?
Well, at even money, I might be switching allegiance, but we're all price sensitive. I'm like Enzo all of a sudden. We've all got a bit of Enzo in us. How scary.
Plans fluid.
Yeah, so listen, we think that he'll win. What about Militarian? I mean, Andrew Martin is a trainer that constantly surprises with his runners, isn't he? And I think at Aintree had a horse go really well until like third last fence, and I'm just
He's going to pick up the thick end of £2.5 isn't he, for running in this race?
The one thing I would say is I don't understand how Born Survivor can be 7-1 and that can be 50 in this race, because
there's £9 between them.
Yeah, there's not loads between them, not on RPRs anyway.
But it's the fashionable money. We're going to see this in the Bet365 Gold Cup, aren't we? Rachel de Bromhead's horse, despite the fact it's got more letters and form figures in its pro. Rhyme. Oh, I've done it again, haven't I?
You keep doing it.
You get these, thank you, Barry. You get these faux pas. I've noticed,
it's like J-Lo, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I've noticed it's not just me that's doing it, actually. Some other characters have started. It's catching.
RDB.
Pat Cooney did it yesterday.
He did. I think Pat Cooney put himself in it, didn't he?
In an interview, yeah.
Good old Pat.
And he's usually a suave operator.
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait to take the mickey out of him next week. Yeah, you're right. He did do it and it was picked up, I think. But yeah, it's so easy to do, isn't it? And it is a marriage made in heaven, isn't it? Let's face it. So we're warming up for the Bet365 Gold Cup. That is at what, 3:35 is it, guys? It's usually one of the big races, isn't it? 3:35. Had to be 3:40, didn't it? As I'm told in my ear. So 3:40. That's the final race for you here on Racing Post Live. Keep your comments coming in, viewer interaction. We love it. You make the show. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're watching on Facebook Live, hello and get your comments in. All the social clips will be going up on Twitter. We know that. Hashtag RP Live. You can find all them. Myself, Dave Orton, top course commentator, Tony Ennis, Graeme Rodway from the Trading Post, and Barry all with you this afternoon. This is the third race, isn't it? We have got a little bit of everything. We've got to Haydock for a really competitive handicap up there. Charlie Hills took out our other flat race. Persuasion for him will be fancied in that. I fancy one in the 250 as well. We're 20 minutes away from that. Tactics then. They're just about to tell people, which is what you see down at the start of a jumps race. No stalls, obviously. They get their pecking order. Just the four runners here. We know what Frodon and Bryony want to do, and it looks like that's the way it's going to play out. Will Mr. Fisher just sit on the sort of coattail, G?
I expect so, yeah. It's a pretty straightforward ride, isn't it, for Bryony? She knows Frodon well. He's going to bounce out in front, and the rest are going to follow her around. They don't usually pick her off, do they? No, she does get him jumping so well. Good luck then, wherever you're playing. In the Oaksey Chase, it's a Grade 2 for the Menorah Trophy.
And they're off and racing, as you say, for the Oaksey Chase Grade 2, the Menorah Challenge Trophy. The lovable Frodon is out in front early on the run down towards the first fence. Takes it well from Mr. Fisher in second, and then the other two, Born Survivor and Militarian. Now, quite a few fences to be jumped here as they head towards the next Frodon, just to put in an extra stride there, didn't he? He's over safely. That was the second fence, which was a plain one. Open Ditch will be next, number 3. They're going to take quite a few fences. There's 21 for a 3-miler. And they're all over safely. So Frodon leading on the inside by a length and a half. Mr. Fisher in second. Is he going a bit keenly, Mr. Fisher?
He was lit. He was lit up a little bit at Aintree. That's why he led. It wasn't the plan, and it's just it's that exuberance, isn't it? I think. Let's go to you with this, G. Do you think if you're Nicky Henderson and Nico de Boinville, you'd have spoken during the week with the connections and gone, we don't want to be going in to the off season with a P next to his name and a U next to his name. We'll be happy with a second. It puts him back on track.
Yeah, maybe get a clean round in once you've had a couple of non-completions, just to get the confidence up as well would be a big thing with Mr. Fisher. He seems to have jumped the first few okay, but of course when you said that last time, Dave, it all went to pieces, so I'm not going to say too much.
We are at the railway fences. I think we're at the railway fences. Is that right? Is that right, Benzo?
Was it? Yeah, that was the last of them. That was the 7th. Frodon just skipping over the railway fences. A joy to watch this horse. He's in front by 2 lengths. Now, Militarian's making a move on the outside. The outsider for James Martin. Mr. Fisher is on the inside, a little bit keen still in 3rd place. And then Born Survivor, the champion jockey, Harry Skelton, is on board him for his brother Dan, such a big supporter, of course, this season. Back mark at the moment, though, on Born Survivor. The favourites in front. Frodon, I guess it's all going swimmingly so far for Bryony. Should be happy.
Yeah, what price, Barry? It's all gone well through the first couple of fences. This is exactly what you want to see if you've backed him.
Yeah, 188, Bryony and Frodon. Mr. Fisher went out to 3.25, which is 9-4, just into around 15-8, now 2.92. 11 Born Survivor. And 28 now Militarian, who has a Betfair SP of 44. So a small few quid for him. Yeah,
all to play for then as we go into the home straight for the first time. And Mr. Fisher, sort of fiddly, G, isn't he? We saw at Cheltenham and we saw at Aintree as well. When he flies them, you can see what I think is next coming down at 7 Barrows. But again, confidence might have just been dented. Yeah,
he's been a little bit fiddly, but he's jumping better than he did after he made that mistake at Cheltenham, and certainly after he did when he unseated at Aintree. So The keenness would be the worry, wasn't he? Like we were saying earlier, he was very keen through the early part of that race, and it just makes you wonder whether that will take its toll.
He's got to get home. He's never been over this far as well.
It's quite interesting, isn't it, that James Martin here is going and putting it up to Frodon, because I think you've got to go and put it up to him. You can't let him have his own way. He will bully you.
And that is exactly what leads me on to the point. For the first half of this race, Enzo, it struck me that perhaps Connections are slightly worried about how hard a race he had at Cheltenham, because surely the tactics would be here, catch me if you can. And he's gone slowly.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I'm not totally convinced that she's that happy on him, actually, but heading down the back then for the next time. This is the fence on the side, number 11. This is another plain one. They've got 21 to take, of course, in this Oaksea chase. So Frodon in front from Militarian in second, Mr. Fisher in third, and Born Survivor looking on from fourth. Frodon jumped that well enough, didn't he? He's over by a length and a half.
Good there, Mr. Fisher, wasn't he? Gee, flew that one.
He's tanking, is he still, though? Look at him. You can't get him to drop the bridle, Nico. You want him to just relax a bit.
If you're Nick at Bourneville now, you're happy that James Martin, has applied some pressure, at least keeping a little bit on it. But there's no pressure whatsoever on Harry Skelton here, is there? On Born Survivor. No expectations. He's jumping well. The horse used to have a lot of back class. If they all flop, then I'll pick up the pieces.
Yeah, he's hoping to pick up the pieces, isn't he? He's hoping that Militarian's going to go and really serve it up here to Frodon, and then he's going to come through late. Maybe they do too much in front. I mean, it's a big ask, but he knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Champion jockey now.
Yeah, it's definitely a confidence thing with Mr. Fisher. I can say that. He just backs off slightly as we go on to the far side, but he's still going
must
well.
be coming in a bit in the betting, isn't he? He's going a lot better than I thought he'd be at this stage.
He's come right
in,
Barry.
He's into 17, Enzo.
17.
Yeah, Mr. Fisher out to 5 to 2. It's 10 to 9 on there, 186, 191 Frodon, and Born Survivor, who looks like he's going to be the beneficiary of picking up the pieces. He's into 9.8.
Here we go then. Is this the railway fences? Someone tell me.
It is the railway fences. Number 16. Frodon skips over it, a length clear. Militarian running a cracker on the outside, the big outsider. Then comes Mr. Fisher and Born Survivor. The next to the railways, Frodon. Long there, but he lands in front by a half. Militarian on the outside, still trying to serve it up. Frodon puts in a good jump. Mr. Fisher just scattered the birch a bit there, didn't he? That was the last of the railway. That was number 18. 3 left to jump, Dave.
He's serving it up to him, isn't he, Militarian? Serving it up to Frodon.
The pond fence is coming up, G. You said they should sponsor this fence. You put it up to Barry. You said there's an angle here.
Yeah, the Betfair pond fence.
There we go. We want to see. We want to see it. Barry knows the game, and G's after your job. I can tell you that much. There's a lot to say there. Okay, they've jumped
Game
it.
on now, isn't it?
Oh, have they jumped it yet? Not quite.
No, they're coming down to it now.
Coming down towards it now, I think.
Frodon looks in all sorts of trouble, doesn't he?
I don't know if he is.
I'm not sure. I can never tell.
4 on Frodon.
Here's the third last. Frodon, odds on still there. Militarian in second has tried hard, but he's still a length away.
Jump, Fisher.
Fisher in third. Born Survivor creeping into it, isn't he? Slowly trying to get into the race. Frodon now in front. Mr. Fisher is tracking him. Militarian may have cracked.
I reckon Nico fancies this.
Born Survivor's coming into
thrown it as well.
A little bit out to the left there.
Mr. Fisher.
Come on, the Fisher.
Him. Here he comes.
Here comes the hook. Reel him in, my man.
Frodon then. He's going to have to find. Mr. Fisher is coming there strongly for Nico and Nicky Henderson.
Come on, then.
The Fisher's in
This
front
is
of
what
the
we've
last.
been waiting to see.
Oh, he's going to come back, isn't he, Frodon?
No.
Mr. Fisher's going to have to find.
He's coming back. It's not a buckle. Come on, Fisher. You find.
Frodon's coming back at him.
Buckle.
Oh, Frodon's getting back up. Oh, she's up. Frodon's
buckle.
Mr. Fisher, every chance.
Every single chance.
Third.
What a
lovable horse he is, Frodon.
I'm hearing all sorts of scenes in the gallery. Barry shouting as well. The only one that's quiet over there is Graeme Rodway. Give us some decorum, Batman. It's a buckle.
Yeah, it was.
What a race!
It was that early freeness just cost Mr. Fisher there. He's shaped like the best horse in the race, didn't he? And fair play to Frodon. He's tough as old boots. He didn't give it in, did he?
He is as tough as they come, and that's why you love him. And today, even Enzo.
He's a winner for me. I love him now. I've changed.
And listen,
It's very game, wasn't he?
A changed man.
Honestly, he's a Man United supporter. There's no surprise. I know there's a few of them. There's no surprise about this whatsoever. Let's not even go with the ESL. You've been waiting for that perler coming your way, haven't you? Listen, Barry, I guess she'll probably get off, I would imagine. You'll get the quotes from Bryony and Paul, of course, coming away in around about 45 minutes on the Racing Post website. But I would imagine she'll be saying, if I'd have gone faster, if I'd have gone a bit harder, I probably would have won a bit easier.
I thought she was looking after them.
Definitely outstayed him, Barry, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's outstayed him at the finish, yeah, for sure. It's a good old fight between the two of them after jumping the last. Mr. Fisher obviously hit the front. There was a 25 to 1 on, 1,519 traded on Mr. Fisher. At 20 to 1 on, 2,758, 106 he was done at over 2.5 grand, 107 all the way there. Just Yeah, and the basement price he hit was 25 to 1 on for 1,500 quid. Frodan hit a high of 28 in running. Wow. It's interesting the in running race because, like we said, Born Survivor, he hit a low of 5.1 in running, and Militarian hit a low of 10 in running. So an amazing race in running, but that's what National Hunt is all about. Great to see Frodan. What a story. And Bryony Frost really does make the difference to him. And I know they were delighted to see her being able to take up the mount after having a really bad, nasty fall in the Grand National.
Yeah, absolutely. Quite right as well. Harry Cobham's still on the sidelines, and they will be seeing him back, though, no doubt, towards the back end of the summer. I think we're just approaching it. We can see the replay here on the screen. 2 out. He's flown it, Mr. Fisher, and he's gone to the front. You can't say he's got there too soon, Nico, can you at all? He sensed, of course, that Frodon was emptying. You've got to be happy, though, if you're anything to do with Mr. Fisher, haven't you? I know you've backed him. I backed him, so I've just lost out.
He jumped better today, didn't he?
This is the horse
No
that
mistakes.
I think that we knew he was. And the handicapper will be happy, I'd say, G, as well, because the £5 swing, Frodon probably wasn't his absolute best, was he?
I wonder if maybe the smaller field just helped him a little bit as well with his jumping, get a bit more of a sight of his obstacle. I know he led, didn't he, at Aintree, and it all went wrong there, but maybe a less competitive race just suits him. A lot of his wins have come in small fields, haven't they? So maybe they'll be looking at that next year. Frodon, take nothing away from it. He'll probably go on and win another big race next season. Was it Paul Nicholls was saying that they might go for the Dublin Chase next year? That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Very interesting indeed. Yes, it would be. Yeah, definitely.
He's unchanged at 16 for the King George. But you're bang on there, G-Rod. He said he'd love to bring him over. Actually, he said he'd love to bring a team of horses over to that Dublin Racing Festival next year, horses that are good enough, which interesting to see. He's talking like that already. But Frodon was definitely one of them.
Finally, some British horses at the Dublin Racing Festival. I think basically if you backed anything at the Dublin Festival that ran at Cheltenham, you weren't too far away, were you? Surely we're going to see that being a carrot. A lot of people that, there's been weather problems with it at a meeting before. They got it absolutely spot on this time, and they made absolute hay. So come on, absolutely. And listen, that's a great thing about Paul Nicholls. Let's talk about Paul Nicholls a little bit.
Yeah, well, we want to see record-breaking seasons at
173.
Champion trainer, brilliant season. But even from the start of the season, he's not really had a quiet time. Obviously, Cheltenham was bad, but apart from that, he's been at it, hasn't he, all season long. So many good horses, hurdlers, chasers, novices, and he gets these horses like Frodon back, doesn't he, after hard races. He's brilliant at sort of rekindling the enthusiasm for a horse as well.
And attacking, a campaign, as we've just seen here. He's got a proper team here today, G, isn't it? And obviously Clandazobo going over next week as well to Punchestown. If there's a race, there's usually a Nicholls runner in it.
Yeah, he's great, isn't he? He's very sporting, isn't he? He gives his horses plenty of chances to show how good they are, runs them all season. We don't get any of this, we'll wait for Cheltenham, we'll wait for this, we'll wait for that. He takes the races as they come, and 9 times out of 10 he gets them there in top form.
Yeah, it's hard to see him being top of his champion train any time soon. Nicky Henderson needs to roust his team, find some new talent, doesn't he? And Dan Skelton emerging, but at the moment, over here...
Would Dan Skelton be second favourite in that market now, would he?
You've got to expect so, absolutely, Barry. Wow, how things can change. I wouldn't write off Henderson just yet, of course, but some new stock needed, I think. So we'll see whether these big owners get their checkbooks out from the Irish pointing field. All right, let's move on then to Haydock. The 250s coming up. Really happy to say we're going up there because in Liverpool there's a cracking card there today. Some really good horses that we'll be seeing for the future. But we're going to concentrate on the 250. It's a 7 furlong handicap. It's wide open, Barry.
Yeah, Fox Chairman's been the springer here. Was as big as 10.5 into 5.9 now. Dream Looper's your favourite at 5.8. Gobi Sunset 8.2. 9.4 Marshall Dan Persuasion 9.2. Yeah, Fox Chairman's an interesting one. They gelded him. He switched stable. He's gone to Rex Beckett. Some top form in the book as well. If you go back a couple of years when he won the German 2000 Guineas. But I'd fancy an outsider in it. I'm going to have a few quid in the winning place. It's number 13 and he's drawn 13. Graeme Lee takes the ride. Dusenberry, he's called. He won an all-weather race over 7 furlongs last time out. A horse tried to make all there. He just collared him in the shadows of the post, Dusenberry. He wants a really strong pace to aim at, and he's sure to get it here. I think there's going to be plenty of pace on between Dream Loper, Fox Chairman, Gobi Sunset, Marshall Dan and Gobi Sunset. They'll kick on and bring the field along at a really, really strong place. So Dusenberry for me, 25 quid in the win market, please. And happy to be a price taker here because he's 30 at the moment, Graeme. So 30 in the win. And then we look at the 4-place market. So it's an enhanced place terms here. The 4-place market, he's currently trading at around The last time I saw there, he's trading around 4.8, 4.9. So we'll have 25 quid there again. Happy to be a price taker. Duesenberg.
Okay, yeah, that's all matched.
Hoping he swoops over the front runners then. Okay, you've got time to react to that trade. Barry taking a flyer. Haydock just got Mr. Fisher sunk, of course, so we're on a bit of a high. 4-1 the field then, pretty much, isn't it? Fox Champion has been the gamble. G, let's give you the starter with this.
Yes, Fox Champion, yeah, well handicapped, isn't he? If Rolf Beckett can get him right back to his best. He won the German Guineas, didn't he? But gelded first time. Oh, short enough, though. Horses bang out of form.
Seems a long time ago since he won the German Classic, isn't it?
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think they came for him a couple of times last year. It was Hannum, wasn't it? And but Beckett, it's an interesting switch, that's for sure. And he's got the one poke. Now, 7 furlongs over Haydock. You know, we see these big handicaps, don't we? You know, over further there. You often want to be on the inside. I'm not sure, really. We're going to learn a bit here, I think, about Haydock going forward this season. Yeah,
I always used to think you want to be on the inside, but then you definitely want to be prominent. That is one of the things that you do want to be. And most of the prominent runners here are drawn on the outside. You've got the likes of Gobi Sunset and Marshall Dan and other horses that are going to go forward. And I just thought that the Johnston horse might be the one here, Gobi Sunset. Ran very well last time out at Wolverhampton. Will obviously go forward from that draw. I think he's drawn inside some of the front runners, so he might be able to get across to the rail. There is a bend, isn't there? Is it about a furlong or two? Yeah. There's a bend straight into a bend, then it's a sweeping bend, and that often sorts them out. When they get into the straight, you can kick off the front. It can be hard to catch, and I just think from a tactical angle that might be the way to play it. I could see Gobi Sunset getting out, getting across, and then at least trading fairly short in running. I wouldn't put you off, backing it at around what is it on the exchange?
8.2.
8.2 on the exchange, maybe putting in a lay around 2.5, 6-4, trying to get out with a profit both ways.
Only ran 4 days, of course, on the all-weather. Don't worry about that so much for the Johnson horses doing. Looks a picture down at the start. Enzo, quick tip, please.
Yeah, I went with Persuasion when I looked at this race last night, Dave. Got to stick with him. Charlie Hill's got a very high percentage of rivals beaten in handicaps, if you like those sort of stats. At the moment, he's already had a winner, of course, with Pogo, isn't he, down at Leicester. Persuasion, I thought, won in his debut, didn't he? So I'm not that worried about the layoff. Ran the Guineas as well, didn't he, this horse? So they've obviously thought a bit about him. I think he's the sort of horse that Charlie Hills will get back this year. William Buick as well riding, like him, drawn in the middle. I think he might run down Gobi Sunset.
OK, thank you. That's Persuasion. He was one of my two. I really like another bat here for David Barron. He's won first time out the last 2 seasons. Connor Beasley on, got a good draw. This is a horse that ran at Royal Ascot as a 2-year-old. He's a 6-year-old now. This just looks like the perfect race. I thought it was overpriced at around about 14s. I think he's coming for some money. Another bat, Barry, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's into 10.5. Interestingly, on the Racing Only Better podcast yesterday, Kevin Blake put him up as well, gave him a really big shout. So you're in good company there, Dave. But Dream Looper's still your favourite at 5.6. Fox Chairman 6, 8.2. Gobi Sunset. Marshall Dan 9.4. Persuasion 9.8. And another bat 10.5. Now, wide open contest.
It is indeed wide open, really exciting. I mean, and again, a lot of these horses just starting off. This would be, you'd be looking for horses here, maybe for the Victoria Cup that we've got coming up next month at Ascot. In fact, I'm pretty sure that the winners come from this race a couple of times, and also towards handicaps at Royal Ascot. And this is where Dream Loper comes in. We've got to mention her. Really likely race for Ed Walker. Pat Dobbs takes the ride. Nice draw in 3. If there's lots of pace on, she's definitely going to take a step forward this year. She's spied up into Vega. Will she want slightly softer ground? I'm not sure. And they are talking about... do you remember her dam, Olivia's Dream? Was it Eve Johnson Housen that trained her, wasn't it? She was really tough, and she went on a bit of a sequence. Ed is aiming this at the new Filly and Mez handicap at Ascot. And I just thought, first time out with a buzzy horse, maybe this is just take the freshness out of her. She's 91. You're not going to be wanting win half the track, if you're aiming at that.
Ed Walker has a lot of horses that go off short prices in these handicaps, doesn't he? from whenever I look at these Haydock handicaps in particular, he always seems to have one that's towards the top of the market. And he went for a period where they weren't winning, but that came from the dark, has absolutely taken off, hasn't it?
Remember this time last year, English King?
Yeah, English King. Yeah.
That seems like a great deal of time ago now, doesn't it? Of course, it's sold for bundles to Down Under. All right, let's have some socials coming in then after Frodon and ahead of this Haydock race. What have we got? Thomas Irish HD says Duisenberg. I think I'm pretty sure that the people in Germany that live in Duisenberg have just listened to Barry and said, do I live in Duisenberry? And I'm not sure. Some of the pronunciations. I was looking down going, where's Duisenberry then? I'm like, I think I've
Duisenberg.
Duisenberg, he's nailed it. Thomas Irish ISD says, That'll do for me as well. So with Barry, great company there. He's 2 runs under him for a reason. And Carl Wilkes comes on and says, if things fall right, then Firmament, a huge price each one. I'm going to let you take this, G, because if anyone's backed Firmament more than Graeme Rodway, I will be massively surprised.
Absolutely love Firmament, yeah. He's got loads of ability, hasn't he, on his day when he fancies it. I remember backing him at York when he won there a few years ago, and he just travels so well, doesn't he, Firmament? He goes through his races like a star. Will he need the run this time, first time up? It's going to be a long season for Firmament. It always is. There's loads of races for him, 7 furlongs. He'll be coming there. All the big gigs probably be going for them. I just wonder whether he'd be fully white ripe after 128 days off. But yeah, the faster they go, the more it suits him. He really likes a quick pace. Maybe better on a straight track.
He's never worse than 5th in his races, is he, Firmament? That's for sure. So if you're playing for places out there, Carl, then I can certainly see that. But you have to think they'll be thinking about the Dante meeting at York, I imagine, for him as his prime next month. But absolutely drawn to.
Money for yours, another bat, 8's just seen from 9.
Yeah, I just like this horse. I mean, I think it's the first time out angle, isn't it? And he won last year, first time out. It was his 1 win over 6. That's probably not his trip. This is sharp 7 for him, absolutely perfect off a £1 lower market. It looks all there. Horses like Admiralty for Roger Fell and David Mishriff Egan. Oh, I had to mention Mishriff, Enzo, didn't I?
Yeah, last one was in, of course. An hour later, he won the big race, didn't he?
Yeah, well, there was lots of eye-eyeing going on from you for that, wasn't there? We can call him your horse, Mishriff.
Oh, I mean, I called it before the French Derby that he was going to win, and then...
Is he going for the Eclipse?
I believe that's on his agenda.
Dabe is being aimed towards the Eclipse as well. You know, it could be some race that.
Not many horses are that good on turf and dirt, to be honest. He's a one-off, isn't he?
It's the first race where the 3-year-olds, G, meet the 4-year-olds usually, isn't it? Slightly before the King George. Of course, it's first weekend in July. Whether a Dabe makes it there with the weather, we'll see. But we've got all these races coming, man.
Oh, there's I was counting them up earlier this week. I think there's 11 real top grade 1 races over 1.25 miles and 1.5 miles, and you'll have the same horses probably coming back to contest them. I think last year we saw Enable take on Magical a few times. Gayaf turned up. There was a Dabe, Lord North. Lord North and a Dabe obviously are going to be back this year. Mishriff will be a new one because he obviously now stays 1.5 miles. Looked even better over 1.5 miles, I thought.
Yeah, a lot of people underwhelmed with the flat season last year, weren't they? Of course, it was a truncated flat season. We had that 6-week period when we came back.
We almost straight to the Guineas, weren't we, almost? It was kind of...
Unbelievable. Royal Ascot before the Derby meeting. Yeah. Wow.
Strange, wasn't it? But Epsom, of course, Gracie Epsom back the other day as well, having that spring day.
Yeah, that was a tough card, wasn't it? I don't think one Fab one, did it? It was, punters found it tough there. What wins the Guineas next week, just quickly as they're going in? Let's get a selection for the 2000.
Wembley and Santa Barbara for the 1000.
You're all over that gamble, aren't you? Of course you are. The Santa Barbara gamble. G?
I think Thunder Moon will win the 2000. I think he was the best 2-year-old, and the best 2-year-olds usually win the Guineas, they say, don't they?
No rain on the horizon, please.
Yeah, let's hope not.
Yeah,
got stuck in the mud, didn't he?
He's got pretty gorgeous as well, hasn't he, in the 2000. Barry, classics quickly?
Yeah, I'm with J-Rod there. I like Thunder, and it's just a waiter.
Yeah, do that. Gobi Sunset stood out of line as well. Is Fox champion favourite now, Barry? I think he is.
Yeah, 5.3, but Gobi Sunset, good money for that as well, into 7, 4 from 10. Dream Looper, 5-7. There you go.
Thank you. They're off and racing. They're expecting Gobi Sunset to go forward. Mark Johnson just had a winner in these colours over at Leicester. Joe Fanning riding Gobi Sunset, and he does go on. He's trapped through by Fox Champion, the top weight, the class act. Racing in third is Admiralty, and then towards the outside is Marshall Down, who's going forward too.
They're trapping, aren't they?
They are trapping along, aren't they? Dream Loper's just in about 5th place, got a nice sit though. Persuasion is alongside, also well positioned, and then comes Firmament. Further back is Dulas, and then towards the outside is Duesenberg, and then comes Firmament, and then further back to find Mustarid, who's being held up in company with Cold Stare in the Midland Park colours. Also towards the back, another bat's been switched off, and the bat marker is Sir Maximilian, Dave, as they pass the 4.
Yeah, they've just steadied it up, G, I think, and you're right on the front end.
Yeah, this is exactly how I hope the race might go. He's got Gobi across to the far side rail in front. Mark Johnston going to be tough to pass from here, I hope, Dave.
I'll tell you what, Dream Loper's settled beautifully. This is exactly what they'll want. The back markers are getting the hurry up now. Another bat needs to find another level, I think. I'm not sure if he's going to get there in time. He's perhaps given a bit too much to do, but Marshall Dan going for it now. Enzo, Admiralty coming on the scene.
Yeah, a few are coming now. Fox Champion looking for room in behind. Here comes Persuasion, though. William Buick switched to the outside, going well too, isn't he? But it's still Gobi Sunset in front of Persuasion. Come on, Buick. Here he comes on the outside. Here comes Dunas.
Nailed it, Enzo. I don't
Charlie
believe it.
Hills 1-2 possibly. Go on, Buick. He's got on Persuasion. Now getting through his Fox Champion. I think it's too late. Persuasion from Dulas. It's a Charlie Hills benefit. 1-2. Persuasion wins. Third was Fox Champion. And fourth, I think, Dream Loper. Get in Persuasion. Billy
A race
Buick.
where you just could not be too far back. They went quick. Graeme Rodway told you that would happen. They steadied it as well. Barry Orr, tell us the story of the market.
Yeah, Doulas, the other one, he was well punted beforehand. He hit a low of 3 in running, would you believe? Your winner, Box Chairman as well, hit a low of 2.62. Gobi Sunset hit a low of 5 in running. The whole host of horses that came with wet sails. Another Blatt 9.4. But yeah, fascinating race, I suppose. It's from a punting point of view. They backed the one that finished second from the Charlie Hills yard. So disappointing for them, but nice winner to get on the board for you, Enzo. Well done.
Thank you, Barry. Yeah, it does happen now and again.
First time for everything. Every dog has his day and all that sort of thing. Charlie Hills' last 3 runners have all won now, G. So
his percentage of rivals beaten, I was saying before this, I don't know if you like this new stat, but he's 67%, I think it was, at the start of the day. That's high. His horses
big horses this year. I'm probably, my mind's gone slightly.
Tash is going to come back, isn't he, for one more season?
Yeah, of course. That's great to say against. There's a gelding angle.
We won't have the Batash Golden Pals set 2, sadly, at Royal Ascot. That's been ruled out, which I was looking forward to.
Is there a problem with Golden Pals?
Pal's not going to make it, Wesley Ward said.
Okay, but Wes will still be coming over with a big team.
Oh, with a load of 2-year-olds, yeah.
You've been watching the American stuff.
Watching Keeneland, some big ones going in as well.
That's where you see them, isn't it? You get it on Sky now. You used to have to sort of go onto YouTube and all that sort of thing to find these things, but this is where Wes tends to get his Ascot 2-year-olds ramping up. It's exciting to say, isn't it? Okay, that was Haydock the 250 done then. Congrats if you went in with Enzo. A big prize winner for him. Persuasion from the 7 Poke, William Buick. Big week for him coming up, isn't it? Does he ride, of course, One Ruler, or does he ride Master of the Seas in the Guineas? 2 big hopes for Godolphin has made such a strong start to the British Flat campaign. That says sayonara to the Flats, I think, doesn't it, pretty much? Does it? Is that right? Yeah, I think it does, doesn't it?
It does today, yeah.
It is, yeah. So we concentrate solely now on Sandown, and we've got to ramp this one up because we're 10 minutes away. There you can see them appearing as if by magic onto your screen. Just the 7 runners, Barry. But if you want, the sportsbook, that offers you 3 for the each way.
Yeah, you can bet 3 places the each way punters on the Betfair Sportsbook. Altior on the exchange, though, is favoured at 3.3, just ahead of So Royal, 3.75. Put the kettle on, big negative for her in the betting market at 4.19. Grenadine, another one that there's a negative for. 28 nuts, well, 36 dollars, and or Una is 46. I'd say he's going to go off in front there. That one with Rachel Blackmore in the play. But I'm going to back Dolas. He just loves it around here. His form figures on the chase course. He's won twice. He's finished second twice, and he was beaten out of sight by Defi de Soil in his other chase start here. So and he goes well fresh as well. Paul Nichols gives him a very favourable mention in his blog on Betfair. But what we're going to do is we're going to bet him in the additional place market. So we've got 3 places here as well on the exchange. So we're going to look to back him on that. We're going to have 50 quid on him in the 3 place market on the exchange, where he's currently trading around 5.0. So again, happy to be a price taker here and hoping that he'll run into a place. I think some of the market principles could underperform. I'm not that sold on So Royal. I know he's unlucky in the Queen Mum Champion Chase. Put the kettle on, will run her usual race. Altior, I'm not so sure about him. Grenadine, he's already wants 2.5 miles, and I don't fancy anything else in it really. Dolas for me in the 3 place market.
Oh, I like that, Barry. I'm just going to back you up with some numbers, which is always what Barry Orr is saying. So if you just look at the data, sometimes it's there. I mean, Sandown, Barry, he's had 6 runs there, and he's only once has he ever been out of the top 2.
I was
on good ground as well. He's only got 1-0 out of, I think he's had 8 runs on good ground, just 1-0 in there. The rest are all 2s and 3s. So that is very interesting. Harry Skelton taking the ride. He's a strong traveller, Dolos, isn't he? So there you go. Barry taking a flyer. Thinks that some of the market principles will underperform in contrast to Graeme Rodway. Now, Graeme, I asked you what wins the celebration chase on your way in, and you said very bullishly.
Yep.
Go on, take the floor.
Altior will win. Yeah. I am absolutely convinced that this horse will win.
Has anyone seen him in the pre-parade ring? Are we sure that he's got the saddle on?
I think he's going to turn up, hopefully. And, this champion chase was possibly the worst champion chase ever run, certainly up there with some of the worst champion chases ever run. And put the kettle on, won it in a bunch finish.
Enzo's face when you said that was an absolute...
And So Royal, his whole price is based on the fact that he was very unlucky not to win that champion chase. But even had he won that champion chase, I don't think there's any way that he could beat a below par Altior. Altior is a proper 185, 186 performer at his very best. And I reckon he can afford to run £16 below his best here at least and still win. And I reckon he can do that in first-time cheek pieces. Nicky Henderson with the first-time cheek pieces. Very, very good angle. That is 10 winners from 30 runners since 2018. Very big profit. I think £11, £12 to a pound level stakes. When Nicky Henderson applies those cheek pieces, you need to take note of it. It's very simple. If Altior is anywhere near them at the last, he will win without doubt. And I think the cheek pieces will do enough to keep him there. As long as he's there, I think he'll win. I think he should be shorter than 2-1.
You heard it here then, Graeme. Rodway extremely bullish. I must admit, I looked at this at the 5-day decks and thought, he's very solid, Altior, isn't he? He's got to give £7, of course, to the Queen Mother Champion chase winner, put the kettle on. She hasn't had the hardest of seasons. You know, I'll come to Barry with this. Of course, she's only this will be her 4th run, Barry. And Leopardstown just isn't really her track, is it? She wants, you know, this decent ground. She wants a stiff finish. I thought she would be the one in the 3-place market, Barry, that all those filthy each-way thieves would be all over.
Sorry, Dave, you just cut out there. Which horse are we talking about? Our newer?
Put the kettle on.
Oh, sorry, put the kettle on. Yeah, she's. I'm just not sure about her going this way. That's the other thing that you'd have a little bit of concern about. She's obviously a fantastic filly, and she loves Cheltenham. There's no doubt about that. But I'm just not mad about her going right-handed. But the trainer's won this race before with Special Payara, so you know he knows what it takes, and obviously he's happy enough to bring her over, so he mustn't have any concerns. So you'd be happy enough. But just I don't know. I'm just not convinced, like Graeme, about the Queen Mom Champion Chase form.
Well, absolutely. I think So Royale, he almost should have won that. I think it was very unlucky, wasn't it? Chaka Boursois cut in front and Rouge Vif came back onto him, the way he steamed up the hill. However, he's been on the go since the Welsh Champion Hurdle. That sort of puts me off a little bit.
Long season, yeah. Green Team wasn't far behind, was he, in that race either?
He just needs a pace to aim at.
Yeah, I think he's
second in the Tangle
money
Creek
for him as well. He's coming into 7s.
He's only a 7-year-old. I think Barry's right. They are looking forward to stepping him up in trip, and the reason why they haven't been able to do that is because he's been pretty keen, and I think he might do a Mr. Fisher and running himself into the ground a little bit. Nutswell, a horse that finished second at Aintree, of course, but probably had a pretty hard time of it. But Danny McMenamin is on, and Hamilton. What a target trainer she's become.
Yeah, she's becoming a very good trainer as well. But I don't know about Altior. I mean, it'd be great to see him win, but I've got a feeling this might be the last time we see him on a racecourse. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
He's a 2-2 horse now, isn't he? Go on, Barry.
No, I agree with Enzo. I think, if he fails to show real sparkle,
I can't see them
trying.
trying.
Surprised if they retired him on the spot. He owes them nothing.
Yeah, they won't persist, will they, Barry? You can't see them sort of trying to get him out again next season for that race at Ascot, and it's in bottomless ground.
Many runs he had in the last 2 years. 3 runs in the last 2 years. Like, he must be a nightmare to try to keep.
He won't run him on soft ground anymore, really. So that rules out the winter almost totally.
We never had the option to go to Aintree, did he, or anything like that, in Lowell Punchestown last year. So I don't know. Listen,
I think this might be a swan song.
This is going to be a seriously exciting race. What I love about this race is Grade 1, obviously, and there are loads of angles in. You saw that I was on Put the Kettle on. Again, Ornua's in here. He came to back to form at Wexford last time out, didn't he? In the race, he sort of had to win. He's a pace angle. Is he in there to make sure it's hot and hot and hot for Put the Kettle on? She can pour it on over the last 2 fences.
It's very interesting the way they're lining up, because it looks to me like he's lining up alongside Put the Kettle on Altior. So is he going to try and put it up to Put the Kettle on from an early part of the race here?
Let's get a couple of socials in then before I answer G on that one. You're not suggesting you're going to try and make it, G, are you?
I think they might.
Very interesting indeed. Hugh Masson joins the show again and says, So Royale without Altior, 6-4. Dolos is an absolute fiend, says Hugh Masson. There's getting a bit lively out there. Great stuff, Hugh. Mark Robertson comes to the party and says, So Royale was so unlucky at Cheltenham. Today really could be his day. Good luck with him. He gives everything, So Royale. Good ground. Won at Sandown easily a couple of seasons ago, didn't he? Absolutely right. Could well do it. What else have we got coming up? That's it? Okay, we're going to call it that because they're just about coming up.
He's a very tough, reliable, good horse, isn't he?
Marvellous to own. Hurdles, fences. Of course, he beat Champ, didn't he, in the game spirit?
They're going to make it. They're going to make it, I think. I think they're going to try and make it here, Dave.
Wow. This would be fascinating.
If he leads Ornua, he's going too fast.
I think they're going to be trying to bounce this out here.
This is going to be some race on the exchange to watch as well as we're doing this. You can see the graphics, of course, down the side. You can see all the odds changing.
I can't see her. Where is she? Why is she not with them?
She was a little bit buzzy there. I just saw down at the start.
Nowhere near them at the moment.
They're keeping her away from it. Wise move this from Hayden Coleman. Of course, is bidding to make it 5 from 5 on her. So
she's got a great record hasn't she, with Coleman, as you say, great record of a chase record as well, and the Cheltenham record is unbelievable.
Unbeaten at Cheltenham, and she's so game. I know that people thought she was a bit of a fortunate winner. Shakan Puswar didn't get home, so Royale unlucky. Nutswell coming there late on the scene, but she just is. She's just so uncomplicated.
We'll see her though at the moment. Obviously, we don't know where she is at the moment.
She is there. I've seen her, but I don't know where she's gone.
You don't think they got the colours wrong, do you? And the Altior's actually skipping off the back, do you? You've got the wrong one here.
I can't see her at the moment. I've not seen her for a while, actually, put the kettle on, which is a bit concerning. But I think she's got a great chance. I've gone So Royal. I think he deserves a big race like this. I was at Foss last when he won that Welsh Champion Horse. It was a lifetime ago now when he beat Ballyandy, didn't he, in that? And
worked out really well that form, actually. Yeah,
Buzz ran
I'll tell you, So Royal's been beaten so many times by Altior in the past.
Yeah, he must be sick of him.
Yes, of
Sick
course.
of
But listen, Altior's an 11-year-old, and we don't really know what's there doing. I mean, Nube Negra did nothing but harm that Desert Orchid form, of course, when he was getting £6 from him. So, yeah, listen, we're beating Altior with a stick a little bit. We've had a bit of fun with the will he, won't he turn up sort of thing. But listen, record-breaking horse.
I also don't think that Kempton really is his track at this stage of his career. I mean, he's also really...
He's a 2-2 horse, isn't he? They tried to make him 2-4. Good ground, stiff 2 mile. This is his race as well. What, is he on a 4-timer in the race?
It's only 1 mile 7 for 139 yards, isn't it? It's not even 2 miles.
If he wins this next season, it's named after him, surely, isn't it? It's got to be.
4-4 it would be, wouldn't it, if he won it 4 in a row?
Yeah, well, Menorah got that race named after him, didn't he?
Altior Celebration Chase, yeah.
Sounds good. He's
Sounds
got to
good.
win it. Let's see what happens.
I'm
Where's
really
put the
looking
kettle
forward
on?
to
I'm a
this.
bit concerned. Where is the mare? Has anyone seen the Champion Chaser? Because I've not seen her.
What's her price doing on the exchange? You know, she's pretty solid still, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's there somewhere.
She must be coming in from a different...
Yeah.
The other side of the fence.
Somewhere. Well, so it's a penultimate race for us. It is, isn't it? Wow, we've got loads of time to talk then between this race and the last race. Keep your selections coming in. Put the kettle on. Is there. She joins the rest. Good luck. It's Grade 1 time at Sandown on RP Live.
Come on, Nico, bounce him out.
Here we go. Celebration Chase. Altior. Looks like he's going to be ridden fairly prominently. He's just going to come out the little dog leg.
Try and make this.
Flags up. Grade 1. Just under 2 miles for the Celebration Chase.
Ooh.
No.
It's a
no-goer.
dead.
Or Nua, I think, broke the tape, didn't he?
What was wrong with that?
Oh, no, don't start. This is something that during the summer. Okay, shall we go to Graeme Rodway on this? The man who loves the starter more than most.
Despair.
You're the kind of guy that walks into a restaurant and says, "I'll have 4 starters, please. I want to eat them up."
I don't mind as long as they don't have to do this standing start. This standing start just ruins it. So let's just let them come in again. I mean, we had this discussion with Hayden Coleman, didn't we?
Oh, I remember. I was just going to that in my mind.
And I said to him, Hayden, if they just let you keep coming in, do you think there'd be 10 full starts? And he said yes, which is a bit worrying.
You were really hoping he'd be on your side, and he
he would
basically
be.
just went, "What you on about? Is as fine as it is, you know?" But listen, that does seem a bit silly.
Abandoned those
7 runners,
starts,
a pace pressure on, and he wasn't happy with it. Perhaps one of them was inconvenienced. We couldn't see it. Did you? So okay,
they're all on their balconies behind, trying to get a view of Altior here. Look.
Yeah.
One thing we can definitely say is that Ornua is going to do what Ornua does best, and that's go off like a hare. Yep. That will suit.
Here we go again.
What a great house to live in, as you say.
Take 2 then. Grade 1 time here.
Yeah, we're off this time.
We're off then for the Celebration Chase. Just under 2 miles. We're going to take a total of 13
That's
fences.
it, Nico.
And he's trying to make it.
Front. Yep, he's going to be chased by Ornua.
Beautiful.
Over fence number 1. Put the kettle on a stake, and Dolos jumped into the back of put the kettle on slightly. Then comes So Royal. Green is next, or Green Teen. Then comes Nutswell, who's won from last. The back marker is Dolos and Harry Skelton. Oh, Altior. He was clever there, wasn't he? Nimble over that open ditch, which they jump on this side of the birch. Of course, they'll jump at the other side as a plain fence on the second circuit. And Altior is bowling along in front. He must have gone favourite now. Clear favourite, I'd imagine, on the exchanges.
Yeah, he's 2.14 now, so just over 11 to 10. 6.2 put the kettle on the market. Doesn't like her. 4.5 So Royal, 9 Grenadine.
So Altior, it's a bold move, isn't it, to try and make all the running, just get them stretched out. He's got that proven stamina. He's gone 6 lengths clear of Ornua in second place. Third, put the kettle on. Fourth, So Royal. Fifth, Green Teen. Sixth, Nutswell. Back marker, Dolos. They're making that turn when they climb now towards this one fence on the side, fence number 3. And Altior, is he doing too much in front, though? He's really free-reading at the moment.
Let's go to you, G, because you can't have expected this.
Oh, I'm absolutely loving this. Let's sit back and enjoy it, because let's hope that he puts in some fluent leaps. Just going back to him a little bit now. Good jump by Altior.
He flew that one.
These cheek pieces are working the dream, aren't they?
Yeah, she put the kettle on has been a little bit sticky. This is gonna be a right test for her. But didn't he fly that? You must be loving it out there if you're out to your life.
Steadying it down now, is he?
Dolos has made a big move. Is he coming through? Or is that Grenadine? Grenadine. Now, this will suit him. And I think this is a really good move, this.
Big. He was long there, wasn't he, Green?
I think Bryony Frost is being really clever here. You know, this is also wants a bit further. She's keeping closest tabs. He's settled fine. Put the kettle on. She hasn't really turned up so far.
I wouldn't be surprised if they pulled her up. You know that?
She's hating, isn't she?
Come on, Altior.
Yeah, she's not fancying the task today.
Altior's flown that fence over on the far side. He's bowling along in front.
Look at the price on. Put the kettle on us.
She's got a huge, I'd imagine, the run. Second is Grenadine. Third, So Royal still going all right. I think, isn't he? Darryl Jacobs seems fairly happy. Of course, Altior's beaten him many times. Dolos trying to get closer. Nuts well into fourth. Dolos fifth. Put the kettle on, not enjoying it. And towards the back is Nuts Wells or Nua, who's back in fifth place. But Altior's clear as they head towards the railway fences, Dave.
I think that...
Good one, yes,
that
beautiful.
Full start, I don't think was any good because Ornua out the back. That was not the plan. Henry de Bromhead will not be happy whatsoever. But here we are then over the railway fences. What a sight. He's finally back and he's doing what he does best, winging them.
He is. Here's the next, the last of the railway fences. Altior, good jump. Grenadine is going off in chase. So Royal waiting in third place.
One.
Come on, Altior.
The others, Ornua, Nuts well. Put the kettle on, being ridden. Dolos at the back. He's got a bit to do at the moment. Aidan Coleman to try and get into this on the champion chaser. Altior odds on in running. Put the kettle on. He's back in about sixth place, the champion. Grenadine's in second. So Royal into third. They're turning now towards the pond fence. 3 left to jump in the celebration chase. Can Altior win this race again? He still leads. Grenadine's 2 lengths away. So Royal is third, making a bit of ground towards the outside. Then we have Ornua in fourth. Then comes Put the Kettle On back in fifth. Pond fence. Altior, good again. I'll tell you what, he's in trouble, isn't he?
What price is the mare? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what, G.
Into 10 to 1.
You can see why they put the cheek pieces on here, can't you? So Royale's a little bit flat, but he's not done with.
Green team, surely from here, he's gone clear.
Wow,
Altior's in trouble.
Is this the day that Grenadine? Yeah, I'll tell you what, this is a great ride from Bryony Frost. We'll get to this. The rest look like they're in trouble. Altior, he's absolutely gone, hasn't he? Did they go too fast? Ping that Grenadine.
Paul Nichols and Bryony Frost. Altior tried hard to come back, but I don't think he can make it. It's going to be Grenadine's celebration chase. What a day for Bryony Frost and Paul Nichols. Doubles for them in the colours of Chris Giles. Grenadine lowers the colours. Poor old Altior falling on his sword in second. He tried his best. So Royal a gallant third. Put the kettle on. Never looked happy. Back in fourth.
Wow. Unbelievable scenes for the first time here this afternoon on RP Live. Altior
must have been short in the run
by Grenadine. So many people. Paul Keeley, top tips for the Racing Post, put him up at 50s for the champion chase at the start of the season. It all went breaks off a little bit, didn't it? He came back to form at Cheltenham. All he needs is a strong pace to chase. And Bryony Frost was brilliant there as they went onto the far side. She knew that there was that searing pace. He dropped his head. He jumps for fun, this horse. She kept closest tabs. The moment that he started to hit a flat spot, she pounced. Did he sulk a little bit, G, or was he coming back as if he was a horse that now finally looks like he wants to trip?
Altior, well, I thought it was an absolutely fantastic run. I mean, obviously he didn't win, but he is knocking on, isn't he? And he's beaten all the main principles, hasn't he? So Royal couldn't get near him.
Yeah.
Put the kettle on, nowhere near good enough. And Green Team's just really improved, hasn't he, for the way the race has been run. Like you say, in that champion chase, a little bit messy, wasn't it? Steady pace, and he pulled quite hard off of it. Today, Altior went and made it a good test for him, and it really suited Grenadine. And yeah, maybe he's going to be able to put them up to him next year in the champion chase. Obviously, we're going to have the absolute superstar in it, Shishkin, so we'll see how that goes. But it could be a good champion chase next year, couldn't it?
Indeed.
Nogomen might be in it as well, won't he?
Barry, tell us about the story of the market then, because he went very low when he was turning out the far side, Altior, didn't he?
Yeah, 163. So 13 to 8 on, he traded that in running Altior. So Royal traded low at 252, would you believe? 6 to 4, and your winner Grenadine hit a high of 14.5. He's 12 to 1 first show for next year's Queen Mom Champion Chase. I'm still not sure Paul Nichols is going to go down that road with him, but it remains to be seen whether they want to take on Siskin and some of the good Irish horses that are going to be travelling at the 2-mile trip. So I think he might still step up and trip.
We've got Anna Gamine to come back as well, haven't we? Absolutely.
Runs this next week, doesn't he? Punchestown.
Yeah, can't wait for that. Yeah, a lot of people think that, still out there think that he's got the measure.
The old Altior would have won from there, though, wouldn't he? I mean,
I think so. That's what I was thinking.
He was. I think.
Has he ran to form with So Royal?
It kind of looks like he has, doesn't it? I think it was tactics. I thought it was such a good ride. Called that in the run, and She just pounced at the right time. Bryony was brilliant there.
I think he's probably run a pound or two below his Kempton run. Altior is 170 at Kempton on RPRs. I think if I was rating this race, I'd probably be putting him on 168 and putting Greenatine on a career best of 170, something like that.
So Royale, I'm not sure whether he really wants a pace like that these days in a 2-mile champion
chase. It's going to be hard to place next year, isn't he?
He sort of, I don't know, I think he prefers to come into it off a slightly slower pace personally, and again, he's been on the go, hasn't he, since October. Great run again from him. Yeah. Loads of people would have backed him in the three-place market, and he's delivered there for you. He never, ever puts a foot wrong.
Put the kettle on, seems to be a horse who's like a stone better at Cheltenham, isn't she?
She just didn't fancy it. Yeah. I don't think it was even going right-handed. I think she was buzzy at the start. It kept her away.
Full start didn't help.
She was disappointed. The full start definitely didn't help because Ornua didn't put any pace on the race. He's also likes to get on with it. Nutswell, Dolos didn't really turn up, did he? Got cannoned into one at the first and wasn't really going. So exciting.
The mare's probably ran well considering, hasn't she?
Yeah, I think so. She's tried. She does try.
Pull up.
I think around about 4 out, I said, what price is she? Because she does just try, and it was when Altior just hit the flat spot. OK, let us know. How did you get on in the Grade 1 Celebration Chase? Did you get Greanatine? Have you been following Paul Keeley all season on that chap? Can't wait for the comments on this. But honestly, how good was Bryony Frost there? Quick double for Bryony, of course, on a very special day for jump racing. It can only be good. And of course, we've got another leading lady about to take centre stage in our 340. That is the 3 mile 5. Is it 3 mile 5 or 3
mile 5? Yeah, with extra yardage.
24 fences. It's the Bet365 Gold Cup coming up. We've got plenty of time to digress now, though. Perhaps tell us your long-range Cheltenham fancies. What's going to win the Guineas next week? Let's have a good chat.
I've got that Wesley Ward horse to look out for. Averley Jane won a maiden. So impressive. A filly. Don't think she's going to go Queen Mary. They're talking about stepping her up to 6, though, potentially. She looked an absolute machine for Wesley Ward.
She could be the next Lady Aurelia.
I think so. She won, and she was eased down the final, and she still did a second faster than the Wesley Ward horse that won
the most bullish man in racing. Wes Ward, I always call him that. Yeah. I spent a bit of time in his company before, and he just tells you everything's going to win. Which sometimes at Ascot can go your way. And I think I remember standing in the box next to him when Lady Aurelia absolutely hosed up on soft ground, and he told us everything else that week would win. It didn't quite go so well, but wasn't it great to see him turn up at Royal Ascot despite all the the problems we had getting horses over last year?
He's going to have he's talking about a big team of 2-year-olds this year. He's going to bring 8 or 9 across. He's talking about.
Wow!
So it's going to be big. But if you watch the video back of Averley Jane, I think it was last Thursday it was.
Where does Campanelle go? Commonwealth Cup, of course. Does she go to the Diamond Jubilee?
Yeah, Diamond Jubilee for Campanelle. He's bringing, what's the horse as well? Kimari's coming across, I think, as well again.
Dead heated on that big night recently. He's a very good horse. Have you got a Royal Ascot winner, G? Are we taxing your brain going from Altior to that?
Let him go for Altior first.
We've got Stradivarius coming back next week, haven't we? There you go. There's a link. I saved you there, old boy. We've got Stradivarius coming up in the Cigaro Stakes next week.
I'm really looking forward to Sir Ron Priestley in the Stayers. I thought that he looked very good when he won at Pontefract first time out. I know that he was quite weak in the market that day, and he stayed on really well, won well. Funny Wesley Ward story was I remember once asking him. How he got involved with Coolmore, because obviously Coolmore only really have horses with Aidan O'Brien, don't they, and Joseph and all the Irish lads. And, it's so simple, isn't it? He just said, I just went and asked them.
Well, why move some of their tiddlywinks his way? Yeah.
So, maybe some of the top British trainers should just go up to the Coolmore guys and ask them if they fancy having a share in this one.
Yeah, he's such a cool guy to talk to, Wes Ward, honestly. Can't wait to see Wes coming back. He has had runners at the meeting next week. Do you remember he used to bring a couple of early 2-year-olds over, didn't he, that run at this? There's a 2-year-old race next week. We've got the Carnarvon Stakes, which is now the Commonwealth Cup. We're hoping that Supremacy comes back next week as well, aren't we, for Clive Cox? If you're watching if you're reading the stable tours, great stable tours that we're doing at the moment for the flat on the Racing Post, my goodness me. He's almost talking about him like the best horse he's ever had, G.
Yeah, well, he was talking about Golden Horde in similarly glowing terms going into Ascot last year, and he was spot on. And he's very good with the sprinters, isn't he? He's had several top class sprinters, only Harry Angel and others. What was that one that kept getting beat as a 2-year-old and then was unbeatable at 3? Can't remember now. But Clive Cox does very well with sprinters, doesn't he?
So we've got it. We've got it all to come. All change after this, of course, pretty much here on RP Live. But we still have, of course, the Bet365 Gold Card to come. 24 fences, absolute mayhem. That's going to be. Who are your picks? Get them in. We'll give you a shout out here, RP Live. You can do that if you're watching on YouTube, of course, and Facebook Live and anything on Twitter. Hashtag RP Live. Come and join the party. One left. Flown by. You always know it's a good show when that's happening. Shall we get an early look at the market then, Barry? We've got long time to talk about this race, but who's been hot?
Yeah, and Rillo's been the one everyone wants to be with, the Paul Nicholls runner that he says is bred to be a stayer, and he should improve considerably for this step up in trip. He's only had 5 starts over fences, so any amount of improvement in him. Harry Skelton in the plate, 5.2, and Rillo. Plan of Attack, who came down after the third last in the Kim Muir one, still travelling well. Obviously, Rachel Blackmore, that's come in for support, is into 6. 10.5 Golden Fortune. 11.5 Supreme Escape. Kitty's Light, bit negative for that, out to 14. Potterman, 14.5. Whole host of horses in there as well. So, and Rillo is the one that everyone wants to be with, Dave.
I backed him last time at Newbury when he saw off. What's the horse that Ross Briley absolutely loves to back for a place each way? Hold the Note, of course. The one that never quite delivers, but I didn't see him for this race, I must say. And okay, G, let's come to you on this before we get all the picks from the team. Clandazobo, after he hosed up at Aintree in the bowl, they were talking about coming here. They've made the decision to go to Punchestown next week, take on the big boys there. It would have kept loads of horses out of Handicap. Do you think this was? Is this the B team for Nicholls?
Maybe. I'm not sure he'll stay. Are you in Relo?
He's a course winner, and as Barry said, he thinks the further he goes, the better he'll be. Nicholls' record in this would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Nicholls thinks he'll stay, don't he?
Yeah.
No doubt.
Isn't the sire of Alboom Photo, I think.
Is that one of these moments where someone asks a question where they know the answer? We had this on the panel last week.
I'm not sure he'll stay 3-5. I think he'll get 3-2, but obviously 3-5 is going to be a test. But I don't know. I think he's been laid out for this race. Obviously, they didn't go to Cheltenham or Aintree with him. They just said this is the race. As soon as he won that race in February, they were going to wait for this race. I think their patience might be rewarded.
They've always liked him, haven't they? They've always been. I remember Nicholls saying a couple of years ago that he thought he was an exciting horse for the future, and he hasn't really disappointed, has he?
He loved the ground.
Yeah, and he jumps fairly well, and he's a novice, isn't he? But I'm surprised he's favourite.
Nicholls, 2 previous winners of this in the last 10 years.
Was Ad Hoc Nicholls?
Idle Bay.
Ad Hoc was, but Enzo, that was like 20 years ago. There's a lot of Grecian 2000 on that air, I said, because I reckon Enzo's actually 80.
I bet Desert Orchid when he won this race. That's how long.
He would be the best winner of this race.
Yeah,
course,
Desert Orchid and Millhouse, I suppose, would be the two. Going back a long time.
Just a par, 2015. Sean Bowen claiming 3 then. 10 on his back. Tidal Bay. I was just going to get to that, Barry. Do you remember that day when he was so frustrating, wasn't he? And then he came to this and he absolutely pulled them down.
He had a little bit of class, didn't he, that horse?
Then he went on to win an Irish Gold Cup after trading at 1,000 in running.
Remarkable. I remember that day as well. One of the greatest finishes you'll ever see around Leopardstown as well. Barry, should we get your trade in now, nice and early?
Yeah, it's just going to be pretty straightforward here. Graeme, I'm going to back Supreme Escape winning place. Very few miles on the clock for Supreme Escape. He's still only a 7-year-old, just 10 races. He'll be staying on when others have cried enough. Last day in Chepstow, he traded at 15 in running. The day before that, when he won at Chepstow back in December 2020, he traded at 29 in running. So he's a horse that can get outpaced, and it could potentially happen on the ground here because there's going to be plenty of pace on in this race. But I'm just going to take a chance. We're going to have 25 quid win on him, Supreme Escape, and 25 quid in the place market. We'll bet him in the 5 place market as well, please, Graeme.
5 places on the Supreme Escape, so 2.4.
Yeah, happy enough to take that. 2.4. Interestingly, in the 5 places, Enrillo is 1.7. So he's 11 to 8 on. Like, if you didn't think Enrillo was going to stay, that could be the market delay, take him on, and for a small risk at those odds.
Oh, mate, you're right there, Barry. Absolutely. Okay, you heard it here. Supreme Escape with plenty of money for him this week, the 7-year-old. Before we go down the panel, let's have a chat about him. Something associates Enzo, you with this horse. Did you put him up once, Supreme Escape? You might have put him up on.
Yeah, I think I did.
I got it because you occasionally take over for a very well-known.
Yes, on the race website I did. I tipped him up at Chepstow. He was up in trip, wasn't he? And he won. James Bowen gave him an absolute perler.
I thought when he won there,
and got up late.
When he won there early in the season, I thought this might be a horse for this sort of race. But I don't know. I can see it. He'll stay and he'll like the ground. And Tom O'Brien, of course.
Yeah, I think he's interesting. Good shout. I think you're right. I don't fancy Plan of Attack at all. I look at his, again, his horse with lots of letters. I think if Rachel Blackwell wasn't on him, he'd be a bit bigger price, wouldn't he?
I think so, but he would have been bang there in the Kinmure had he not come down, G, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he was going well, wasn't he, when he came down? And yeah, he would definitely be a bigger price.
He's owned by Alan Halsall, so it's a British owner basically. And there's been lots of talk, hasn't there, in the media about English or British owners having horses in Ireland, coming back over whenever they want. Easy to travel horses these days. So while we sort of say, you know, if this wins, you know, it's just an Irish horse coming over and plundering another big handicap, we may as well all go home and tear out the book and work out how to do it again. I think Alan would have, you know, likes this horse to run in England, basically, or Scotland or wherever.
It's the most ridiculous season any trainer's ever had, though, isn't it? This the Bromhead one. I mean, he's won the Champion Hurdle, Champion Chase, the first 2 home in the Gold Cup, the first 2 home in the Grand National.
Yeah, how did Balco to Flow finish second?
It's absolutely insane. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible.
But you're tempted to say you have seasons like this, but this will be a stick
Never
out sore
repeated.
thumb. Yeah, absolutely.
Can never be repeated, can it? Like, it's just an absolute outlier of a season.
And if you think he was close to giving up the game in the early noughties, wow, unbelievable.
There's a horse that I've kind of jumped off a bit. Cap du Nord, remember him? I loved him with the old Sky
One
Bet
of 2
chase.
for Christian Williams.
Yeah, Kitty's Light. I couldn't believe Kitty's Light was only 5. I had to look at that again.
Should we talk about Kitty's Light? Should we get this Kitty's Light out the way?
Come on.
This is the plan.
Jack Tudor gets a great tune out of this horse, doesn't
Champion jockey elect, of course. Jack Tudor gets the ride. Still claiming 3 somehow, despite those brilliant skills in the saddle that he has. And Kitty's Light, this has been the big plan all the way through the season since he won.
Anti-post favourite, wasn't he, for this race?
Yeah, he has been on the
Rillo
drift,
came
but I
along.
wouldn't let that worry you. Despite some very good judges putting him up earlier in the week, he's gone right the other way. We know that can happen on this show, by the way. And he's just not very fashionable, is he? Let's face it. You know, in comparison to some of the trainers ahead of him. You know, Nichols and de Bromhead heading the market. Often always likely to be the way on a Saturday in a big race. He's a 5-year-old.
Do Nathaniels want that good ground, though? That's a concern, is it?
This chap is just a complete freak, Barry. I spoke to Christian Williams pre-Christmas in the studio, and I said, "What is this 4-year-old doing?" He said, "It's a bit embarrassing, really." He said he should be running in derbies and things like that. And here I am. I've made him into a national horse. But the ground went against him. If you watch back, you've got time to do it in your members section. Watch back his run in the Badger Isles when he finishes behind El Presente and Potterman. He takes a couple of fences with him. He runs on strongly. The ground went against him. They ran him in all-weather bumpers. He's not an all-weather bumper horse, and he ran really well. He went to Kelso, despite a drift. He won. They were probably trying to get him up in the weights, thinking he needs to go in. Even if he looks like he's in trouble at the pond fence, do not worry.
I backed him in the Badgers Ale, Dave. I think we might have done the show that day, and I was on him in the Badgers Ale. And I put up after the race on Twitter. I should have minded my own business. I'm worse putting anything up on Twitter, but I put it up on Twitter afterwards. Please watch out when Kitty's Light learns how to jump fences, because he's only a 4-year-old. He was getting the allowances. He stayed on well. He was hampered by a horse that was brought down, or he's nearly brought down to third last. But he was never in a position where he was able to challenge. I thought that was down to his jumping. Well, one of the guys who owns the horses came back to me, and me and him ended up having a right old ding dong on Twitter. We ended up telling each other to just have a Ficari and forget about it. And then Christian Williams getting involved the next day. He says I was being very unfair to the horse, that if any track was going to get him beat, it was Wincanton. So I've watched his career very closely since, and I'd love to see it win for Christian Williams. I think he's a great fella. I think he's a very underestimated trainer. But having said that, I did think jumping was his issue that day. But he's still only a young horse, and I'm sure he's going to be around for a lot of years to come. And I would like to see him run well. But off the back of that, my lesson, I suppose the moral of the story is don't bother putting anything up on Twitter, because someone's always going to take you to task over.
And all of a sudden, he's a great guy, isn't he? That's often the way. Listen, I've done it. We've all done it. I don't imagine you've done it. You keep yourself well above the parapet, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
You are on Twitter, though, aren't you?
No, I'm on Twitter. Yeah, no, I do.
There you go.
I don't tweet that much. It's very good for information, isn't it? I think quite a lot.
We need it for the news feed, don't we?
I think whenever you put something out there, there's always somebody who'll just come across and try and have an argument with you.
They call it racing Twitter, don't they? And some of us know it was around. Well, it wasn't quite around this time last year, was it? It was a little bit later on, where basically you broke all records, actually, G, didn't you? For this show?
Did all right that day. Yeah,
we've still got to get him down ditch cheap, Barry, haven't we? When we're allowed to get the camera crews back out and everything, I'll be there riding one. I think they'd like to see that, and I think they'd like to see you in the planning room as well, and then going over one of the national fences.
Yeah, no, I gave up Twitter a few years ago because...
I thought you were going to say last September.
Yeah, nobody agrees with anything that I say on there, which probably won't surprise too many people. But I just got fed up with it in the end.
Yeah, you can of course find that record-breaking clip out there if you want to, of G basically saying about the genius of trainers, or the lack of it, of course. There's been loads of gambles in this race going back to the 340. Golan Fortune is one I want to talk about. Tom Scudamore, disappointment, of course. Cloth Cap, breathing
Trouble
problem.
yesterday at Chepstow, though.
And the Scottish National winner. You can't keep a good man down. There's lots of talk about whether this will be his last year.
He's the winning most riding now, isn't he? In jumps racing after Dickie Johnson's
retirement.
retirement.
You'd be amazed how long he's been around because
he's the most successful jockey still riding.
He wears it well, doesn't he? But he sits on for Phil Middleton. And Golan Fortune, again, a horse that's been on the go for a long time. I would be happily put a line through his Midlands National run. I put him up on this show that day, and he just never got into a rhythm on that tight track. And if you don't get into a rhythm in the Midlands National, you're gone. But he has got some form, G, hasn't he, which makes him interesting. Notably, the next destination form at Warwick.
Yeah, this is my idea of the winner here, Golan Fortune. I think that in this race, as you said about the Utoxe race, very similar, all these stay and chases, very important to get up with the pace and to get yourself into a good rhythm. And he never did that at Utoxe, but I have a feeling that the booking of Tom Scudamore here is, that's maybe the idea, because he's very good on this sort of horse, isn't he? We saw him change the tactics on Cloth Cap, turn the horse into a completely different horse from front running. And I think you'll see Tom Scudamore try and make the run in here on Golan Fortune. And some of his best form has come at Sandown, albeit over hurdles. You know, he's won, I think, once or twice there, certainly. He ran a cracker there in quite a hot race. I think he was second to top of the game, I think it might have been, in a decent race there. So that sort of form is good enough. And when you look at his profile over hurdles, just sometimes you do try and get into the head of these trainers, don't you? And you think, well, if you were Phil Middleton, you'd be looking at his hurdles form thinking, yeah, he's got some good Sandown form. I wonder if that race at the end of the season might be ideal for him. And obviously his form over fences is very strong as well. He's beaten, 6.5 lengths behind Next Destination and Fiddler on the Roof in the Grade 2 Novice Chase at Warwick. And
he ran really well that day as well.
Yeah, he was bang there, turning from. He made a mistake, I think, at a crucial stage. And those two ran well, didn't they, at Cheltenham, both of them. So that form is fairly strong in the context of this race. So, yeah, Golan Fortune for me, Dave.
He's been a right plunge, G, as well. He's now into, what is he on the exchange, Barry, at the moment? He's run about 10s, is he?
11.0, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Third favourite, yeah.
Yeah, third fav at the moment. Remind us, Enns, where you're going.
Very much with Enrillo. A lot of money for him. I think he'll stay laid out for this race. It will be the icing on the cake for the champions, won't it? Paul Nicholls and Harry Skelton teaming up. Where it all began for Harry Skelton.
You've seen the narrative, haven't you? In your game.
Headline rider.
There's a headline there.
Enzo on 100 to 30 favourite in the big race.
Wins.
Okay. A reminder, you can see why he's lasted so long in this game, Barry, can't you? And it's remarkable. And I am on Kitty's Light. I hope that is the way. And Barry, of course, remind us, Barry, it's Supreme Escape for yourself.
Supreme Escape, win and place, yeah.
Right, let's get some social interaction going on. We love it out there. Who's coming to join the party? Tom Leach joins the show and says, Supreme Escape in the next. Also like Bob Marler. Yeah, OK, Tom, a quick word about this. You've heard about Supreme Escape. You're with Barry there.
Quirky Bob Marler, isn't he?
Oh, he is.
When he dumped poor old Gavin Sheehan in a race at Foss Lass, who was going to win. And
Keels said to me yesterday, I'm trying to make myself fancy Bob Marley. You know, he's handicapped to go and do this. Kim Muir a couple of years ago. Could you see it, G, or not at all?
He's good at Foss Lass, isn't he?
But that's it.
I'm not sure he's so good round here, especially on this sort of ground, do you think?
Possibly.
Yeah, I want soft, I think.
Possibly. It's a leap of faith, but this is a Bet365 Gold Cup. These things can happen. Cheers, Tom, for that. So Andy Sim comes back onto the show and says, Kitty's Light has been a model of consistency each way for me. I agree. Love the campaign. He's an absolute freak. Let me tell you, if the boys in the gallery, if this wins, I don't think we'll have to sort of sign off ourselves. This has been a long-range term plan for them as well. So good luck, Andy, with Kitty's Light. I'll be screaming. And Matty Draycott comes back on and says, Cross Park will stay all day. This could be his day. At last.
He got out-battled by Single Farm Payment, though, didn't he?
How?
So,
I know, absolutely.
That's not something on your CV that you want
It's hard to say he's a twicer, isn't it? Because a lot of people have got him down for that because it's second. But he's an 11-year-old anyway, 150. He's always going to find something better.
I can see him being placed. I can see him running into a place again.
But that Single Farm Payment day, I mean, it was just like...
the race of the season.
If you own Cross Park, you'd be like, what have we got to do? Cross Bar he should be called, shouldn't he? Not Cross Park. But listen, each way he's a dream horse to own, I think. Mally, I could see that going really well for you. He loves Sandown as well. Supreme Escape for Evan Nierenberg, who says, has a race in him if the pace suits and a progressive value. Yeah, he is progressive. Definitely more to come from him as well. No love for Plan Attack out there at the moment, is there? That's a bit surprising. That was the last of them. Great, guys. Good stuff and a good line for you all. Yeah, not a lot. It's amazing, isn't it, Barry? No one mailing in or sending us selections of Plan Attack whatsoever, but it's the De Bromhead and Blackmore factor.
Yeah, very much so. But they're weak enough now. I thought they'd go off favourite just for the Rachel Blackmore factor to take that into account. But she's 6.4, 4.9 and Rillo 9.8 Golden Fortune. So they're betting the two around her and Rillo and Golden Fortune. And she's on the slide just a little bit. You would imagine there'd be more money for, I don't know, the Kim Muir falling in that obviously is a negative coming into a race like this with a fall is not ideal. But it was still going well in the Kim Muir when it came down. And, I wouldn't have written it off at that stage. So still on quite a workable handicap mark as well, it has to be said. Yeah,
I think so. So, look, we've got a lot of love for some lightly race 7-year-olds. Have got more to come, basically. El Presente, of course, who won the Badger Ales. That was definitely a stepping stone for this, surely, G, wasn't it? My worry about him, for Dave Bass and Kim Bailey, is that he's going to be taken on some way out, I think. He's a horse that has to get on with it.
Yeah, he is. He does stay very well, though. I remember him winning one day Market Raisin, I think it was, when he absolutely pummeled them. From a long way out that day, and he'll be going great guns. And sometimes that is those tactics that work in these races. Just depends whether he can hold his position up there. The one I want to throw in at a silly price, Dave, the Young Master.
Oh.
Did he not run well in this again? And no, he's 12 years old. But
this is his race, isn't it?
Yeah, he loves this race, loves Sandown, and he was second in it behind Talk Is Cheap.
Neil
5 years ago he won it.
He did, yeah.
5 years ago, yeah.
16.
He's ridden by Kevin Brogan, claiming 5. Very good value for that.
Very good value.
Both good ground.
The Neil Mulholland runners love Sandown. Doing Fine is the other one. And they will probably run a lot better than their form figures suggest last time out. Neil Mulholland was asked about this in midweek. I saw him on one of the racing channels. He had that little glint in his eye, and he just sort of said, don't write him off yet.
Long break after he's obviously had wind problems because he's had wind surgery. Sometimes I think you can be pretty good coming off that break if you've had wind problems. I think he'll have him absolutely spot on the Young Master. Could see him definitely running into a place.
Second time wind up is what the jocks love, isn't it, when they see one that's got a 2 next to a W out there, because they just realise they can breathe again on that first up since the wind up. Of course, it's not exact science. Sometimes they win first time off it, but they realise they get more confident again, and it's the second time that they make that big leap. I tell you what, it shows you what sort of race it is that you've got Doing Fine and Smooth Stepper as the absolute outsider of this. It is a deep race, isn't it? Because Alex Hales' horse, the 12-year-old, probably shouldn't be a 50-1 shot.
No, Doing Fine was he was the one that we had when he won here the race. Do you remember that he should have won the previous year on the Tingle Creek Day?
Was it the Veterans?
The Veterans. I don't think it was the final. It was the one on the Tingle Creek Day in December.
The void race, wasn't it?
When he won it the previous year, but it was voided because of the flag situation, and then he got his sort of compensation by winning it the following year.
The Betfair London National, that was called.
Yeah,
it was at the very fence that you want us to sponsor.
I've heard that keyboard going, Barry. I'll tell you what, I've heard it going. I think you're off to Harry, aren't you? And Anna and all that lot, Betfair going. I mean, I've had a brainwave, guys.
It'd be the only idea that they ever take on a mind, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll never happen. Yeah, okay, all right, great stuff. Listen, there's loads happening out there today, wherever you are watching. Thanks for joining the show. We've got one race left to go, and we're coming up to it. We see Paul Nicholls being interviewed at Sandown at the moment. That will be some trip back down to Ditchett. I'd say they'll be having a party there tonight, Barry, won't they?
Sorry, Dave, you dropped that there.
I'd say that Paul and his team will be having a party there at Ditchett tonight, won't they?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah. The Manor, the local pub down there, I'm sure there would be a massive big beer garden, and there'll be a lot of libation in it this evening. Good old fashioned knees up. I hope they'll all be having down there. He said at the start of each season, like, he doesn't set himself goals and all that, but he really wants to be top trainer at the end of the year. Yeah, and I think that shines true. And he's just as enthusiastic now as he ever was. If anything, he's even more enthusiastic. And this whole Irish-English rivalry, a lot of his owners have opened up their checkbooks this year, and there's a lot of top talent down there. So, he does say it's cyclical, and he won't be scared to come over and take the Irish on themselves in their own playground when he has the ammunition. And he's very clearly said that too. So, yeah, it's great for the game. He's a great ambassador for our sport.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Echo all of that. And you're right. I think you've summed it up there. It is cyclical. It's all about where the stock is. And at the moment, most of it is across the pond in Ireland. Okay, final thoughts of the Bet365.
It's a real test, this, isn't it? 24 fences, you say, 2 and a bit laps of the track.
24 fences, isn't it?
Yeah, 24. Right. They take the ditch twice, then the final fence is the 24th fence. The railway fences twice, obviously. don't want to be making an early mistake. You need to get in a good rhythm. I think Harry Skelton would probably look for a midfield sit, wouldn't he? I'd imagine on him. I think he's very strong in the bedding still, isn't he? Plan of attack, she's probably going to try and switch him off, you'd imagine, Rachel.
Swoop from the pond fence, the sponsored fence, as we're now calling it. That's a great idea, that, It's amazing.
Maybe it's a protected landmark, the pond fence. You've got
to be careful with Betfair. They sponsor everything. So it'll be the railway fence, it'll be the run-in, it'll be the bars.
There's a fence at Sedgefield, isn't there, that's sponsored? Is it like the Paxton?
Oh, yeah, Johnny Ridley.
The Johnny Ridley fence.
Well done, Barry. Great memory.
He is catching on.
You've got something here. It's in there somewhere, isn't it?
Look, racing needs revenue, doesn't it, to try and...
That's a great idea, isn't it? Sponsor the fences. Where should we sponsor the fences? Oh, wow, brilliant. Look, this is the final big jumps race we're bringing you of the 2020-21 jump season. What a season it has been. Utter highlight for you. I put up the Grand National yesterday when I was asked that question, not just because of Rachel Blackmore, but the spectacle itself. It was a brilliant spectacle for the sport.
Yeah, so many highlights. Gold Cup was a great finish, wasn't it? I think obviously it's just the Henry de Bromhead, Rachel Blackmore, Angle, and Harry Skelton as well. I mean, he really has come to the fore, hasn't he? Remember the year after he lost his conditional status, he rode 8 winners that year.
Yeah,
he couldn't get a ride.
Absolutely.
Jockey
Nichols didn't fancy him. That's been a great story, hasn't it? But Team Skelton going place on. Let's get some final socials up on the screen then for this Saturday's show. What have we got? Zugu Exura says, keep it simple. Henry and Rachel, plan of attack. Finally, one comes in, was cruising the last day and runs off the same mark today. Yeah, Kim Muir has been always well advertised in his big handicaps, hasn't it? And Robert Carter, the final one today, he says, don't forget the previous winner, the young master, G. He's got him on side. Loves it here. The going will suit. Don't worry about age. Just a number, isn't it?
We should also mention someone who's not riding this race, Brian Hughes, because it takes 2 to make a battle, doesn't it? And I thought he handled himself so well. I thought
you're about to do an interview with him.
I just really like him. I really rate him as a man. I think he's very, very humble. Just a top guy, I think.
And he's been a bit harsh on himself, hasn't he, as well?
King of the North, I'm hearing in there, absolutely.
He never had the opportunity to be, to be congratulated by his contemporaries the same way.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
He never had that last year, unfortunately for him.
He's basically Liverpool, isn't he? He's got an asterisk next to it.
Basically forgot to give him the trophy.
Guarantees bang there next season.
Forgot to give him the trophy last year. If not for Mick Fitzgerald driving the trophy up to him, to his house, I don't think he'd have got it.
Wow.
Extraordinary.
Yeah, that has been a great battle. And you know what? We needed it after Aintree, didn't it? We really needed that to jump season. It's been a great story, these midweek meetings.
Right. Mess around here, are they?
Here we go. This is it.
Here we go. This is it.
Final
Good luck.
Piece. Right, yeah, a lot of runners here.
I imagine you're auditioning for next year, are you?
Odds on a full start.
Oh, don't want a full start.
Not much room, is there, between that little
Supreme Escape, bang up there. Is he going to let him go? Come on then.
First time out.
Oh, we're off and running. Over to Enzo.
They're off for the Bet365 Gold Cup. Good start made by Golden Fortunes right up there. The Young Masters right up there as well. Also El Presente and Plan of Attack made a mistake at the first.
Kitty's Light wasn't clever.
And Cap du Nord's been dropped back to last. Where's the favourite Enrilo in about 7th or 8th for Harry Skelton? He's in red and green colours. But up front it is Golden Fortune leading up to El Presente, the Young Master in 3rd. Check it out's on the inside. Enrilo is very handy for a horse who should be ridden to stay the trip. Then comes Plan of Attack from further back to fine, doing fine. And then comes in black colours Irish Prophecy. I can see Larry is next in the field for the Moors. And then comes Supreme Escape, who's been followed by Smooth Stepper. Kitty's Light switched off at the back of the field with Stable Companion. I think it's the 2 Christian Williams horses right at the back. Cross Park is also towards the rear. They've taken those first 2 fences. Slight mistake though at the first by Plan of Attack, I thought.
Let's go to you, Barry, because Supreme Escape, he was well backed in the anti-post and throughout the day, not enjoying it.
Not going a yard, hasn't gone a yard at all. Supreme Escape, and he's out to 20 on the exchange. And Rillo 4.1. He's not getting ridden like they think, like the trips are concerned. Plan of Attack 7.4, 12 Golden Fortune. That's his Betfair SP incidentally as well. 12.5 Kitty's Light. Outside of that, 15.5 Potterman.
I'll help you with Supreme Escape then, Barry, for the final time at Sandown, where it all began. Let's put another 0 on that price. You know what's going to happen now. You know what's going to happen. Scything through the pack on the final. G, let's come to you. Golden Fortune, Barry mentioned him. You're happy with seeing him up there?
He got a very good start, but he's just dropped back now, dropped back to 5th. He got cut off by the Young Master, which was my other selection. So he's nicely placed, isn't he? The Young Master, the 12-year-old, showing plenty of sparkle.
Up there as well.
Absolutely
One of
attacking
our
them.
viewers.
Kitty's like the back marker, but I said, don't worry about it. He'll just rev up. He'll keep going. So I'll be looking for a late rattle from him. It'll be all about getting over these fences, though. He's tiny, isn't he, compared to some of them? He will eat up the final circuit. Still not worried about that. Loads of way to go, then, Enzo. We're going over the railway fences for the first time.
Yeah, heading to the railway now. That was the old water jump. That was the 7th. Heading towards the 8th, the first of the railway. The young master enjoying life. Can he turn the clock back? Won this 5 years ago. He's leading. El Presente is up there. Bob Marler is up there as well. Adrian Heskin on the outside. Enrilo, lovely position for the favourite in 4th for Harry Skelton. Golden Fortune's right on the inside, cutting every corner. Plan of attack for Rachel Blackmore. The Grand National winning rider is right there too. Another one there is Potterman, who's about 6th or 7th position as they jump the next to the railways. Then Doing Fine from Check It Out, who's next for Sam Twiston Davies. Further back is Larry. Cap du Nord is wide, then Cross Park, followed by Irish Prophecy at the next. Then comes Supreme Escape, Kitty's Light, and finally Smooth Stepper. The last of the railway fences, all the young master put an extra stride in there. He's over in front. Bob Marler in 2nd. El Presente 3rd. Enrilo. I'd imagine, though, Barry, his price is getting shorter, the favourite. He's cantering in 4th at this stage.
2-1, Enzo.
2-1.
Yeah, 3.1. 8.6, Bob Mahler. He's come in for good support. 10.5, El Presidente. 8, Plan of Attack now. 36, Golden Fortune. The market doesn't like him. Kitty's Light hasn't traded above 16, would you believe, and is all but last.
Clever in running players out there. I'll tell you what, Kitty's is just about to light up, I think. He's just starting to do what he does best. Go down Fortune. Looks like he's pulling up, G.
Yeah, I think he maybe just sulked a little bit there. Once he got taken on for the lead, he didn't fancy it too much. Just dropped back through the field very quickly. But good jump by the young master. He's having a lovely spin, isn't he, the 12-year-old?
Yeah, Tom Scudamore doing the right thing with Go Down Fortune. Let's hope they're all okay then. As we go into the home straight for the 2nd of 3 times in the classic marathon chase.
The 12th fence will be next, Dave, in the feature race. Enrilo tanking, isn't he, on the inside? You can see Harry Skelton almost doesn't want to get to the front yet. He wants to just drop him back to try and see the stamina out. Bob Marler leading. El Presente's jumped well so far for Dave Bass. Plan of Attack's made a little move. Rachel on the outside into 5th now. Enrilo's into 3rd. The young master is 4th. Then comes Potterman from Irish Prophecy. Further back, Check It Out is ahead of Cross Park. And then Larry from Cap du Nord, Supreme Escape. Kitty's Light's past a couple. They are Smooth Stepper. And Doing Fine, I don't think he'll be repeating his heroics from the winter. He's under pressure. He's last.
So 2-1 he was then. What has he now got? He's gone under that barrier.
7-4, yeah. 2.70.
I've never seen a horse travel this well in a race like this.
7-4 now. I tell you, Supreme Escape. Tom O'Brien's earning his feet today, that's for sure. Your horse, Kitty's Light, is travelling back. Seems to be travelling okay now. 13.5. 7.4, Plan of Attack. Rachel's still there. Bob Marler trading at 9. Your favourite Hardman all the time.
Hard to call it at the minute, isn't it, G? If you had to jump on one now in running?
I like the way Rachel's travelling. I must admit, she's just sneaked up there, hasn't she? I just wonder if Enrilo's just going a little bit too well.
It's a bit of an on to victory, as we saw in the first race.
This
is key then.
This is going well, though, isn't he? Look.
On the far side then, they're all starting to creep a bit closer now. This is where stamina starts to really come to the fore.
Turning right-handed towards fence 15, and Bob Marler leads the Bet365 Gold Cup field a couple of lengths clear to in 2nd place El Presente. Enrilo still tanking in 3rd, but Plan of Attack's going well on his hammer in 4th place, jumping the next. Then Potterman from Check It Out, the young master has dropped away. Cross Park is next, then Irish Prophecy, Supreme Escape, Kitty's Light, Cap du Nord, Larry, and Smooth Stepper's the back marker. Just trying to kick on here, isn't he, Bob Marler? He does stay well. Adrian Heskin trying to press on. Enrilo, though, still tanking, jumping so well too, isn't he?
He is. I can see why it's gone short now, but again, we don't know about the final. I'll tell you what's catches my eye. Larry's going well for Team Gary Moore out there at the moment. He's going quite well. Kitty's Light. Now this is key for Kitty's Light. Where is he? I'm looking. I'll tell you what. He is warming up. He is.
Oh, bad mistake.
Who was that?
Enrilo splashed in the water.
Enrilo.
What's that? He's now above the 2-1 mark then. Ooh, I'll tell you what, Plan of Attack. Potterman going well. Who's that? Captain Orr starting to get into it with his stablemate Kitty's Light as well.
Over that fence, they're all okay. Young Master Supreme Escape ridden along still at the back. And
He's
Smooth
hit that one, I
not
think.
travelling. Here's the next, El Presente. I think Harry Skelton wants to go on Enrilo. He's jumped up on the inside. No, he's going to hold on for a bit longer. Next to the railways, El Presente, Enrilo jumping so well now. Bob Marler under pressure. Plan of Attack in 4th. Potterman on the outside. Irish Prophecy still there for Tom Bellamy. Then
Will he get home? That's the question. He is a strong traveller, Irish Prophecy.
Enrilo has hit the front now. as they head towards the pond fence. 3 left to jump then. He leads a length clear to El Presente in second.
Evens.
Plan of attack is still there. Even Money Barry's crawling in the ring.
Kitties? He's just tagged onto them. Come on, Kitties. Where
Is he
are
going to
you?
see it out?
I tell you what. Come on, Kitties.
He's 27.
Woo! I tell you what, this is where it all starts. We're coming up to the sponsored fence.
Larry's making a move, isn't he? Right on the outside. Look at Larry going forward. Plan of attacks in there. El Presente, but still Enrillo appears to hold the cards. 3 out the pond fence. Enrillo in front. El Presente's cantering, isn't he? Harry Skelton, the champion jockey's barely moved here.
11-8 on.
This is
Paul
the Badger
Nichols.
Ales form coming
Who's
to
on?
it. This
Who
is
the one on?
I'll tell you what price is Kitties?
Kitty's lights got
He's
into
absolutely
7th place.
flying them. Go on.
Oh, Enrilo's made up a
Oh,
mistake.
no, he just sort of sat off it a little bit. I'll tell you what, come on, Kitties.
Kitty's
Come on,
lights
Kitties.
running on
Can
now.
you do it?
Enrillo tackled again by
He's
El
going to wake
Presente.
them.
Kitty's lights got into 5th place.
Come on, Kitties.
Staying on. Here's the last.
Fly, he's flown it.
Well, Presente. Kitty's light.
Kitties lights.
Come
Is
on.
it too late?
Kitty's light on the
Come
outside.
on, Kitties.
Enrillo and Kitty's light. They're going to
Kitty's
fight it
light.
out.
He's going to do it. I'm
Kitty's
telling you,
light's
this is
coming.
it.
Oh,
Oh, they're all going down the gallery. Stewards.
Oh.
I can't believe it.
Enrillo wins
Controversy.
second. A stewards, for the first time in this race, a stewards inquiry. We've had disqualifications.
Oh, that's cost him, hasn't it?
Oh, wow.
That's cost him. Has he got
First past the
second?
post,
That's the
Enrillo. I think
important
Potterman's
thing.
got second, hasn't he?
Oh, no, he hasn't got
Oh,
second,
he's not got
Kitties.
second.
Potterman's got second.
There was a
Kitty's
key
light.
moment there. Listen, fair play if you're on the favourite. He's done the job. He went low in running.
Oh, what a race.
Paul Nichols,
Does he
what a
keep
day.
it? Does he keep it? I
There was
don't
a
think he
moment where
keeps
Harry
it.
Skelton went across and they definitely stopped.
I don't think he'll keep it.
But the problem is, if you're on Kitty's light, G, with the rules as they are, Potterman was
Potterman.
second. He'll get the race.
Potterman will get the race.
I don't believe it.
Incredible.
Absolutely unbelievable season. I'm looking at the boys in the gallery.
He's going to
Enzo
win.
called it.
We
Great call, Enzo. Great call.
I tell you what, yeah, absolutely, Enzo. You've got the money there, and it's first past the post wherever you're going, isn't it? But we're going off
So
fair shortly.
he hits
But
2 out. Look at him hit 2 out in Rillo. Almost
yeah.
down
Whacked
there.
it.
Almost down 2 out. But
I
Harry
think we
Skelton-
called Kitty's light though, guys, didn't we? We said if he's
Said he was
under
staying on
pressure,
here.
he's a marvellous horse, isn't he?
Jack Tudor doesn't give up, does he, on this fella?
That was such an exciting run. Potterman's
What happens
on an
here?
absolute bell. That's
Enrillo starts to hang, doesn't he?
yeah, he does.
Would Kitty's like would have won when he was
He's got his
straight
stick in the wrong hand at the moment, Harry Skelton. He's absolutely walking,
know
isn't
Kitty's
he?
is- I don't think
now
he
he's
knows Kitty's
switched
there.
it. How he's come right. He's
Oh,
cannoned
he's
into him.
handed into it. He stopped him winning, hasn't
Yeah,
he?
he would have won, I
has,
think.
I think he'd have got there, you know. Maybe, I don't know.
He would have got there, I think, because all he does, he's not a horse that you can check.
Oh,
the
he's giving him
momentum
a right bump.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he'd have won.
Oh, Cheney tonight. That's so unfortunate. And he jumped like a drain again, Dave.
Yeah, he
Kitties.
did. He did. He just fiddles him. He's a small horse, Barry, but he's just, I'll tell you what, he'd get 10 miles, wouldn't he? He's one of these old school stayers that we used to see.
Only 9 got round, I think, in the end. Bob Marler finished last. Captain Nor ran well. The other Christian Williams horse ran a cracker on ground, probably quick enough for him.
Feel for the team down there in Wales because this is. Oh,
That's
my
a pronounced
Lord.
move, isn't it?
Oh,
I'll
that's
tell you what,
cost
if
him.
he was second, we could have another Caja Howe Docklands Express from all those years ago when they reversed the
If
race.
he was second, I'd be thinking, gee, I've got the money here, but with the rules are what they are, aren't they?
Well,
What's a man's chinned him for second?
He's chinning for second, which wouldn't. But they still have to make the decision, the stewards here, won't they, on whether they're going to place Enrillo behind Kitty's Light. In which case, Potterman would get the race, Kitty's Light would finish second, and Enrillo third. I think that's what they have to do, isn't it? Decide would he have beaten, would he have finished ahead of Kitty's Light?
I don't think it's clear cut.
I think he's idled then, the horse, because he's picked up again, hasn't he?
Enrillo, I think he has. I think he's just looking for a bit of company.
You called it, Enz. You said
look
about the
I thought
narrative.
he's got a smack across the face, isn't he, as well, Kitty's Light from Harry
Oh.
Skelton.
He may keep it. He may.
That is,
He has his whip in his left hand, and he's
He's trying
he
to
switched
keep
it at the
horse
right
is just
time, I
wrong,
think.
isn't
and-
Yeah, it's definitely not Harry Skelton's fault, is he? He's
No.
got his whip in the right hand. It's just the horse has hung.
Yeah, the horse.
have they called an inquiry? There's no inquiry market on Betfair.
If there's no inquiry, then I'll tell you what, the punters will soon be into Sandown.
Oh, here we go. It's open now. It's open now.
Yeah,
So
all
we're
right.
1.56 evens Enrillo to keep the race.
Crikey.
1.92, 1.80 now. Potterman.
Potterman's gone fake.
Potterman in the. That's
Potterman's
the
favourite
safe
just
play.
by virtue of finishing second. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
exactly.
by virtue of finishing second. Kitty's Light's 1,000.
Despite the fact that under the rules, Kitty's like can't be given the
Can't
race.
get the race,
can
which
he?
is so frustrating, isn't it, for Kitty's Light? It's just like if he
It
finishes
just doesn't
second,
make sense, does it?
he gets it, doesn't he? If he finishes second, he gets the
Doesn't
race.
make
Oh,
any
no
sense.
doubt.
Yeah,
101 lay only if he finishes second.
Yeah.
yeah. He's swerved all the way across. We're watching it again.
Potterman, Alan King, Tom Cannon.
I'll tell you what, that's some boost for the Badger Ales, because El
Here's the
Presente
head on.
beat him in that. Kitty's
Oh,
Light
he's
was third.
absolutely mullered him.
Captain, all we can say is comfortably back in fifth. Cross Park in sixth for those of you that had that market.
I think you'll keep it.
It is fascinating because they have to be sure that Kitty's Light would have been there.
Can you? You can't say that Enrilla wouldn't have found again.
Oh, I think that Kitty's Light was coming with that wet sail and would have done him. I think there's no doubting about that.
I was coming with a win and run.
I was feeling that, as you probably saw in the run.
It
was exciting stuff, wasn't it? That's what you get here on Racing Post Live real time.
I think he should lose it, but whether he will or not,
you don't know, do you, with the stewards?
You just never know. It depends on the stewards.
How they're going to interpret it. They might interpret it that Enrilla was idling and that Kitty's Light he'd have found more when he got to him.
I'm sure Harry Skelton will be arguing that Enrilo was idling and that he would go again.
He's a good talker, of course. Who's on Potterman? Tom Cannon. Yeah, okay. So personalities will probably come into that. But for now, Enrilo, a winning favourite.
We don't know if he keeps
in the feature handicap of the day, beating Potterman, Kitty's Light and El Presente. That was the top three, not in that order, from the Badger Ales at Wincanton in October. Whatever it was, early season. So that's massive boost for Wincanton. They'll be delighted, whatever the outcome. Well, there you go. It didn't disappoint. Kind of a fitting end to the UK jump season then here on Racing Post Live. Thrills and spills along the way. And yeah, fair play. You called it.
And Rillo did all right, didn't he? Today. Special mention for my favourite horse, Frodon, as well today. Wins another big race.
You're now number one. He's got the merch coming, hasn't he, and all that sort of stuff.
Frodon replica scarf.
So it's all changed now then, Barry. Great to have you back on this afternoon. Some great trades along the way. We'll be seeing you hopefully shortly again. Thanks, Barry.
Always a pleasure. Thanks,
Cheers,
lads.
Barry.
Thanks, Enzo. Great calls. Thanks, Graeme.
Thank you,
Talk to you soon.
Brilliant stuff from Barry Orr. Okay, Enzo, when are we next seeing you? Got a sticky May, haven't you? But you'll be back.
Might be able to pop over one of the May days. Don't know, but otherwise it might be June. Looking forward to Punchestown. This battle is Rachel Blackmore 4 behind Paul Town, and let's hope they're both riding at Punchestown. That'd be a great week. But enjoy the Guineas. But hopefully, I think Wembley and Santa Barbara win.
We shall be giving you a mention. Cheers, Enzo, for coming back in.
Thank
we know
you,
everyone
Dave.
loves you out there calling the races. Irish Handicap. Finally, all of a sudden, we got one back.
Finally, yeah. Whichever way this steward's inquiry goes,
We've won.
It's going to Britain, and for that we should be happy.
We've beat the one raider.
Absolutely. Altior, quick question for you, G. Altior, what do they do with him?
I thought it was a super run. He obviously isn't the horse he was, but he's still a very good horse, isn't he? He's still more than competitive in Grade 1 company.
Will we be seeing him next season?
Running though, will he, on soft ground? That's the problem.
No, I'd like to see him go up in trip. I've been saying it for years, but I don't think they're going to do it now, are they?
Could he run in the Oaksey House Chase this time next year? You will see in your members section, of course, all the quotes, beaten horses, winners, what will happen in this Stewards. Well, we don't know. It's been great having you here this afternoon, though. Join us back Saturday, Sunday, double header for the Guineas next week here on RP Live.